Good morning, or afternoon actually, as it is. As the late, great Ernie Banks would say, it's a beautiful day for a ball game, so let's play two. This is round two of the doubleheader between the Tufts University Jumbos and the Colby College Mules. First pitch from the pitcher is down low for a ball. Pitcher leading off for the Colby Mules is Tommy Forsey, the DH. The 1-0 pitch. Outside, no, in there for a called strike. The count is now 1-1 to Faris. Comes set, delivers, down low. The count is now 2-1. Jumbos absolutely dismantled the Mules last game by a final score of 12-2. So Mules looking to turn that around this game. 2-1 offering is in there for a called strike. Count is now 2-2. To the leadoff hitter, Tommy Farisi, who had himself a decent game last game, but now focuses on this new game. Lifted into right field. Wind is carrying, going back, and it is out of here. Tommy Farisi with a big fly to lead off this game, start the game on a high note with the Colby Mules. Did not think that was going out, but the wind is quite strong out here at Bellow Field today. There's an American flag out in left field, which is just blowing directly out to right field. So anything lifted in that direction is going to get an incredible amount of help today, and that's exactly what Tommy Farisi did. So really quickly, Colby jumps out to a one-run lead.
Right, and that's a big change from the last game. For those who have seen the 3 games of this series, the first one was really a battle yesterday. We went extra innings. And the first game today, Tufts got ahead early and really held on to the lead. And Colby was struggling the whole game to keep up, and they weren't able to do it. So that first run here is a good sign for Colby.
Andrew David's second pitch to Soren Hansen is in there for a called strike. Count is now 1-1. Pitch is low to Soren Hansen, who was actually the pitcher for last game. For the last game, did not do quite as well as he'd have hoped, but here he is now playing first base for the Mules. That one's corked off around to towards the softball field. Count goes to 1-2 for Hansen. Andrew David comes set, delivers. Corked off again, this time directly back behind the backstop. Count remains at 1-2. Andrew David gets the sign, delivers in the dirt, and that count will go to 2-2. Andrew David's been having himself a pretty good year. Didn't do quite as well last week as probably he'd have liked. So with the last game, the senior day for the Tufts University Jumbos is looking to have a pretty shutdown start. Again, fouled off, this time towards the lacrosse field, where just earlier, I believe the Tufts University Jumbos.
That's right. The Jumbos were able to pull ahead at the end there and beat Wesleyan 13-12. It was a nail-biter of a game. Actually, they were behind for most of the game and came ahead to get the win at the very end.
Well, congratulations to the lacrosse team. Andrew David. Oh, punch out. Inside corner, catches him with the heat. Hansen was probably looking for that off-speed pitch, but David catches him looking for the first out of the top of the first. Now up, Matt Garcia. Good change. I'm going to give Andrew David probably some confidence to just settle in, find his groove, and get things rolling. Low and outside to Matt Garcia, the center fielder for Mules. Nice quick start. This one's cracked into right center field, into the gap. That's going to fall for a base hit. Garcia's going for 2. He's going to stumble a little bit on the base path around towards second, but he will be in without a play. Real fast tempo for this game. It's been a bit of a departure, especially from yesterday's game, which went on for almost 4 hours.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we've seen 2 big hits already, and I wonder if the wind is helping to pull those balls into the outfield.
Absolutely. It's just, you wouldn't call it quite a stiff wind, but it's definitely not a gentle wind either. a lot of help going to be especially for lefties who can pull the ball into right center field. So see how the Colby Mules can play that to their strengths. David checks the runner, delivers. This one's popped up into left field. Left fielder will make the play on that very quickly. We've got 2 outs on the inning, so David might be setting him up for some good contact here, but also is able to get things down. So that was Andrew Courier, the right fielder. Andrew David looking to shut down the rest of this inning, keep the Mules from jumping out too far ahead. That one in there for a called strike. A little off-speed pitch to begin this encounter. Andrew David comes set, checks the runner. The pitch. In there for a called strike. This umpire, see, likes the late call. He likes to wait around for a second.
He likes suspense. It keeps us on the edge of our seat.
0-2. Very quick 0-2 to this batter. See if Andrew David can punch him out really quick, get out of this inning. Runner on second trying to fake him out a little bit. Andrew's not phased. In the dirt. Nice block by the catcher, Eric Schnepp. Good block there. Keeps the runner on second and away from the really dangerous area at third base. Andrew David looking in for the sign. Checks the runner, delivers. And another nice block by Schnepp. Yeah, David sticking to the credo of not giving batters anything to swing for, because especially with those 2 strike counts, batters are taught to protect the plate. Anything close, they need to be swinging, because don't want to go down with the way Soren Henson did earlier in the inning, just striking out looking.
And Schnepp is doing a great job of stopping those to make sure that the runner can't advance to third.
This base hit into right field. Second baseman runner is going on contact, is in without a play. That was Matt Garcia scoring all the way around from second, and the Colby Mules are up 2-0 on the first in the first inning already, which is a great change from last game.
Well, this is quite a different feel. The feel of this game is very different than the last one, especially for Colby. What do you think Colby talked about between the games?
Probably just relaxing into it, because they did a really great job. You know, they talked to the crew last game, talked a little bit about how much of a powerhouse Tufts was. Currently undefeated in conference play here. Colby not nearly the same kind of caliber of performance so far this season, but the Mules managed to take the Jumbos into extra innings last night, and it was really, I don't want to quite say lucky, but very close win for the Jumbos. So just probably reminded themselves that, they have the ability to do this. They just need to sort of quiet down, focus, bring everything back to themselves, and not worry about what the Jumbos are going to be doing.
Right, and I think the Jumbos were down beginning in the first inning of the last game, so it's very hard mentally to come back from that, and so being up ahead here is helpful. For sure. Tapped on the ground to second baseman. That was Tom Petrie, and the inning is over. Well, Andrew, I don't think we ever got the opportunity to actually introduce ourselves since we started this game up so quickly. So for those listening, my name's Jake Hellman alongside Andrew McMillan, and we're here for the third game.
The third game of this Colby Tufts series. A little bit of a doubleheader going. It's now senior day, right?
That's correct.
And that's the announcement that's going on in the PA, which you might be able to hear a little bit behind us. But we've got a good crop of seniors this year. We've got, I believe, Matt Moser and Cody McCallum are the only two seniors, or was I mistaken?
No, I believe there are more.
Kevin Godin. No, I think that's it, actually. That's all I've got on my roster here.
For the Tufts seniors, this has really been a great season because myself being a senior as well, Tufts baseball is really at a great peak right now, and they've just been doing fantastically well all season long. So for the seniors, I'm sure it's hard to be coming to the end of the season, but they should be very happy about what they've been able to accomplish.
Andrew David's also a senior, so it's showing my true colors as an underclassman, not knowing the senior class as well as I should. but we've got Cody McCallum, Matt Moser, Andrew David, and Kevin Godin, which I believe is it for that. So a little bit of appreciation, a little bit of love for our Tufts seniors who this is their last home game or just last conference home game. Last game that the JumboCast will be covering for this season. Might have been a little bit of confusion in the last game. Tufts JumboCast will be around next year. Will be around for the foreseeable future. So don't worry about that.
Right, and I believe during the earlier game it was said that this is the last game that will be broadcast for the Tufts Jumbos, which is not true. It's the last game the Tufts JumboCast will broadcast, but there will be other broadcasters
for
here for the others. So don't worry. You can still watch those at home as well.
This is your last game, though. Jake
This is my
Hellman,
last game.
You know, JumboCast underwent something of a renaissance a little bit before I got here. Just an overhaul of just new equipment and new just sort of fire in the belly to get things done. And Jake, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later in the game, but Jake was a big part of introducing that. And leading off for the Jumbos is Cody McCallum, who watches a first pitch strike sail by. The delivery, fakes bunt. The ball is high, though. A little bit of a breaking ball. It didn't quite have the bite to get down in the strike zone. Count evens at 1-1. Jumbo's looking to get on the board quickly. One of the credos in baseball is always to score soon after another big block of scoring, but soft grounder to the second baseman for the easy put out will be the first out of the bottom half of this inning. McCallum goes down quietly. Oscar Cooch, the right fielder, is up. He had himself a pretty good game last time. I'd say everyone had a pretty good game last game for the Jumbos.
That's true.
Scoring 12 runs. The success is bound to be shared around a little bit. So he'll be looking to keep this momentum going. Start the Jumbos off right since McCallum couldn't quite get there. Another strike on the inside. A little bit of heat from the pitcher for the Colby Mules, whose name is escaping me right now. His delivery, though, 0-1. Another soft grounder to the second baseman for the easy put out.
And it's interesting now
That'll be out number 2.
To see those two easy throws to first and 2 solid outs. If you've seen the past 2 games of the series, they've both been plagued with errors in a sense. Especially the last game was plagued with errors for Colby. And the game on Friday, I believe there were 4 errors on each side.
Each side, wow.
And so to see a strong start here, maybe due to the weather or something else, but definitely good.
So Matt Moser, one of the seniors, steps in. He watches a breaking ball sail by for a strike. Matt Moser, the shortstop, had himself a game last game too. I'll stop saying that now.
Seems
just
all around. Yeah.
Everyone did last game, and he tattoos that one down the foul line, but that's just fair. He's going to be digging for 2. There's a play at second, and he cannot hold on to it. Shortstop for the Mules cannot hold on to it. That was a beautiful throw from their left fielder.
I think the ball was there in time, and he would have been out.
Just couldn't quite hang on to it. That's not quite an error. Just couldn't make the play. So that's a clean double for the senior shortstop, Matt Moser.
Right. I mean, with the dust being kicked up, someone sliding into the base, it's hard to keep your eye on the ball and not be distracted by the runner.
Wonder if that's left over from how wet it was this morning, because that start of that first game was a little scary.
Right. Absolutely.
Tommy O'Hara steps in, the big sophomore for the Jumbos. Just burst onto the scene last year, probably quite recruited, and just he's the last game they were calling him the big bopper for the Jumbos. There's a reason he's in that cleanup spot to drive in runs with big power. So
right, and we saw a grand slam from him last game that gave the Jumbos 4 of their 12 runs.
Fastball in there for a strike. Colby pitcher comes set. Checks Moser on second. Delivers. And an easy grounder there for the first baseman, who will beat O'Hara. And the Jumbos go down quietly. 1 left on, no runs scored. It is 2-0 as we move into the second inning, and we'll be right back. And we are back for the second inning. Our apologies for that. A little bit of logistical stuff to catch up on. Andrew David looking into Sapler for the Colby Mules, who watches a first pitch strike move into his range division. That's a ball low. Close to the strike zone, though, not in a huge miss. Count evens at 1-1.
Well, it's hard to tell.
Andrew David.
Hard to tell strikes from balls from our angle. Obviously, height we can gauge pretty well, but it's hard to see if it's outside.
My apologies. It's Sonberg at the plate right now. Sonberg, the left fielder for the Colby Mules, who's looking in. Count has gone to 1-2 now as Andrew David delivers, and that one's fouled directly back into the screen. Count remains at 1-2 for Sonberg.
Our apologies for any wind you might be hearing on our mics. Today has really shown us what New England is like between the rain this morning and then the beautiful day without the sun, and now we have sun, and then the wind is picking up.
That one's high and outside to Sonberg. Count evens at 2-2. A little bit of nibbling going on for Andrew David. Focusing in. His delivery is crushed into left field, but that's going to hook foul. Count will remain at 2-2. This is Chris Sonberg looking in now, finally finding him on my lineup card. Chris Sonberg looking in. Andrew David shakes off the catcher, delivers. Another foul off to the right side. All these fouls off to left field for this righty hitter, Jake, usually means that he's out in front. Just getting his swing out just a tiny bit too early. So he's seeing the ball. He needs to see the ball right now, otherwise he's going to strike out. But he just needs to
wait for it.
Doesn't quite get it there, though, and Andrew David gets his second punch out of the game. That's a swinging strike this time, though. No lookers here for Chris Sonberg.
You know,
that's
Andrew,
the first out of the inning.
Andrew, I'm thinking about it now. I think you and this pitcher have a lot in common. Besides the last name, same first name, you both have beards, both about the same height.
He's in one of my classes. He's got his beard is much more magnificent than mine. And as the Andrew with the better beard gets Crocker for a first pitch strike. This is Ben Crocker. Ben Crocker, the senior for the Colby Mules. So this is also one of his final games of his collegiate career as Andrew David delivers. Another heater in there for a called strike. And the count is now 0-2 to Ben Crocker. David's really keeping the tempo up this game, much more so than the last couple of games.
I was just about to say that. Compared to the past two games of this weekend, this one's really moving along.
It's all about natural rhythms, though. It's just whatever makes you feel good. And some people just like, quick tempo, getting stuff done. David misses outside, trying to get Crocker to chase. Crocker's not biting, though. 1-2 delivery. This one's tapped softly back to David, who will make the easy put out for the second out of the inning. David's really settling into his rhythm now.
For sure.
Swinging strike to leadoff hitter Sonberg, and a soft grounder, much to the similar way to that Del Volpe grounded out to end of the first inning. Starks, the pitcher for, nope, that isn't, Cohen's the pitcher. That's my apologies. The shortstop, Starks, is stepping in now. Tyler Starks, another senior for the Colby Mules, looking to make good on his last collegiate baseball games, looking for a nice win. David bounces that one in the dirt to even the count at 1-1. David looking for a nice 1-2-3 inning to shut the Colby Mules down. That's a ball inside to Starks. Count goes to 2-1. And the commentators were talking about this last game. Baseball is very much a game of momentum. It's just whoever feels the momentum, whoever feels like they've got stuff going, whoever can spark things off faster, usually is the team that can find the will to win.
Absolutely, and I think the last game that we watched earlier today was a perfect example of that.
Yeah, the Jumbos just kept things going and going and going and kept building things up and setting them off just enough. The 2-2 pitch is tapped firmly over to the third baseman, O'Hara, who makes a nice play to put out Starks to end the inning. And a nice quick 1-2-3 inning for Andrew David, who's now settling into his groove for his last game here at Bellow Field. So that's no hits, no runs, no men left on base for the Mules, and we'll be right back for the second inning, or bottom half of the second inning. And we're back for the bottom half of the second inning. Leading off for the Jumbos is the designated hitter, Dan Kelly. Dan Kelly, a sophomore for the Jumbos, watches the ball probably inside. Can't quite get that perfect angle for knowing what kind of pitches are being thrown and where exactly they're being thrown. Just got to wait for the umpire. Will Cohen's 1-0 delivery is in there for a called strike. Count evens at 1-1 for Dan Kelly, the designated hitter. Kelly's been having himself a year, 326 on the year going into this Colby series. Don't quite have all the updated stats that we need, but that was a ball in there to bring the count to 2-1 right now for Dan Kelly. Will Cohen's delivery, also a strike. Count evens at 2-2 now. Long at bats. A lot of these at bats have been going to counts like 2-2, 3-2, but Cohen and David both have been working quickly here, like a nice quick tempo, off-speed pitch. A little bit too much bite there for to be called a strike.
Absolutely, and I think the reason for this game feeling a lot faster than the previous one is that tempo of pitching, like you said.
Will Cohen comes set, and that one misses, probably inside. Didn't see the catcher lean away from us as we're looking from the first base side. That's a walk for Dan Kelly, who will keep padding his statistics and get the table set for Mike McLaughlin, who's the first baseman for the Jumbos this time around. McLaughlin, another one of the team leaders, team hit leaders. He's got a home run, 11 RBIs, and is hitting .327 on the season, which is good for about third on the team for batting average. There's a strike there to McLaughlin. Count goes to 0-1. Interesting choice to keep the big hitters, the big guns, down lower in the order. Or maybe it's just the lower orders having a better year so far. Whatever it is, I'm just having trouble right now. Will Cohen checks on the runner. Makes McLaughlin. Yeah, I'm just going to call him Mike. My apologies to Mike. Needs to wait a little bit longer, but he's been having a great season so far. Will Cohen comes set, delivers another off-speed pitch, and McLaughlin grounds out to the first baseman, who chooses the easy out. Gets McLaughlin.
All right, do you think he had a chance over there to get to second?
Yeah, and allowing Dan Kelly to advance over to second. That's a fielder's choice. Good for Cohen to get the out to keep the inning progressing in the way he wants it to, but not quite as good with a game this close to have really any runners in scoring position. They're going to have Harry Brown, the left fielder, come to the plate. Brown. the delivery. Off speed, big breaking ball in there for a called strike.
You know, and some of those pitches really impressed me. Being someone who's not particularly talented in the game of baseball, you know, the ability to pitch is very impressive.
Being the baseball nerd I am, had a big talk yesterday about how the pitchers actually get those balls to have those movements like that. Brown manages to get that one down way down into the gap. Play at the plate is late, and Dan Kelly scores all the way around from second. So really great hit from the left fielder Harry Brown. Nicely done to hit it properly and give Kelly the chance to score. And the Colby lead is halved just like that. It's now 2-1 with a man on first for the Jumbos and Tom Petrie, the second baseman, coming up. Petrie taking a really far step back stance in the box. You can see him basically on the border, getting as close to the catcher as he possibly can. Will Cohen steps off the rubber, gives himself a little bit of time. Doesn't want to balk, but he also wants to keep Harry Brown, just to sort of let him know that he's still thinking about him. Comes set, delivers, another big breaking ball. Good block by the catcher, Andrew Delavolpe.
And balking, you just mentioned, is actually something which we saw in the Friday game, which I think was partially a subjective call. You know, the umpires have to use their judgment and watch every little movement of the pitcher.
Indeed. Very much a judgment call. You have to say, you know, decide what looks illegal, what, you know, is allowable. But Cohen very deliberate about what he does. That one's a heater. A little misses low, though. So that's count goes to 2-0. Becomes a hitter's count for Tom Petrie. Petrie very much in the driver's seat right now. Can wait for, you know, an offering that he likes, or just go for something. That one's in there for a strike, just trying to challenge fastball, if you will. Will Cohen just trying to say, come and get it if you want it. So Petrie knows that it's there. Will Cohen's got the ability to throw in the strike zone. He's just got to find something that he and Cohen can agree upon. Cohen comes set, checks the runner. Doesn't quite come set, I guess. So we were having that discussion.
Right, we
know,
were.
What constitutes as coming set, and when can the pitcher check on the runner specifically?
Did you end up looking up the definition before the game, or is that still up in the air?
That's still up in the air, unfortunately. Not quite enough time in between games. They really like to get this second game, you know, started. That one's fouled straight into the trees. Thankfully, not into the bleachers that are right behind second base.
It's surprising that there's no netting here, because there's a field directly behind the plate, and definitely some of these foul balls could be dangerous.
Indeed, indeed. Will Cohen checks the runner again. Harry Brown really making him nervous, I guess. Brown must be one of the team leaders in steals. He's definitely got the mindset to lead, to take those big leads, another secondary lead. As Petrie watches that one go by, strikes out looking for the second out of the bottom half of the second inning. Always unfortunate to, you know, for those kinds of strikeouts, especially when you just can't even get the bat off your shoulder. But sometimes you just can't see them.
Right. Well, it has to be pretty demoralizing to walk back to the dugout having, you know, watched a pitch go by and not swung at it and struck out.
Quality at bat, though, that's for sure. There was probably 5 or 6 pitches, including all the fouls. So, you know, he got a good look this time around. Will Cohen got the better of him this time, but, you know, it's a long game. Tom Petrie will assuredly see Will Cohen again. Cohen's pitch to Eric Schneff is bunted for first pitch bunt. It's popped up, thankfully not caught. If there's anything worse than striking out looking at it.
I don't think he intended to do that.
It's bunting into a pop-up. So that one goes foul for strike 1. Schneff looking to advance the runner. Harry Brown was running on contact for that one, so that would be what's called a bunt and run rather than a hit and run. Will Cohen very much respecting the wheels on Harry Brown. So Jumbo's maybe looking to force something or make something happen with the speed on the base paths that they have right now. Cohen looks in, gets the sign. And
He just called time and stepped out of the box.
Okay, that's what it was. Focusing so much on Will Cohen. Thanks for the other pair of eyes catching what I miss. So Will Cohen taking his time. Still checking on the runner. Really making Eric Schnepp wait around for this this pitch. 0-1 so far. So Schnepp showing hits, although he was showing hit when he first attempted to bunt. So anything can happen. Ball in the dirt, blocked nicely by Della Volpe, and Brown is thrown out. So really nice defense by the catcher, Andrew Della Volpe, and Brown is retired. So 1 run scores for the Jumbos on that very nice piece of hitting from Harry Brown, but that is it. No men left on base, 2 hits, and Jumbos are now only down 2-1. So. It's good game, very close game now, much closer through these first 2 innings than last game, which is a boon for these fans over here.
Yes, and I was sensing during the last game there was a little bit of I don't want to say boredom because I think people were enjoying the game, but it can be frustrating at times when one team is so far ahead and you just kind of have to get through the innings, but you know what's going to happen. And I think we talked about over in the softball field is just adjacent to us. And I believe they have a mercy rule that is 10 runs.
Okay.
And so at that point, it might be 8 runs. I'm not quite sure. But there is a mercy rule. And so if one team is ahead by a significant amount, they decide, we don't need to play out the rest of these innings. But baseball, here, there is no such thing.
That makes sense. You would think maybe baseball can take a little bit of something from softball in that regard, not make the fans wait around all that time, especially for the games that drag on like the game yesterday.
Right.
Although that dragged on because it was so close together. But
that's
all right.
And playing 2 games back-to-back also is always difficult. And so intentionally, the first game was 7 innings with the goal of making the entire day here a little bit shorter for the athletes, of course, because it's hard to be out on the field for so long.
Of course. Colby Mules got the top of the order coming in. Andrew David back to work out there, looking to keep the groove from the second inning going. Leadoff hitter Tommy Farisi, who's the guy who hit the home run last inning, really capitalized on the wind blowing out, which is still blown out to right field. First pitch swinging is popped up behind, out of play. So nothing doing for Eric Schnepp to make a play on that. 0-1 the count for Tommy Farisi. Can hear the Tufts dugout urging Andrew David, or as they call him, AD, on to keep this lockdown momentum going. Second pitch swinging for Tommy Farisi is fouled again, this time just kind of dribbled back behind the plate.
Yeah, something else that I always give a lot of credit to catchers for is the fact that, on those foul balls or something in their vicinity, they have to throw their mask off and find the ball really quickly. And I know if the ball goes above you and you have your mask on at first, it can be really difficult to find that ball.
That pitch is up and away from Farisi. Decides to not bite for that one and lives to see the next pitch, which comes from David and is also outside. Schnepp doing his best to frame that pitch and make it look more like a strike, but not quite. No good, says the umpire, and the count will even at 2-2. David still working on his really quick rhythm, delivers, and gets Farisi down on strikes. That's a swinging one, and his 3rd of the game. That'll be the first out of the 3rd inning.
Right, and we were talking earlier about strikeouts when watching the pitch, and so despite the strikeout, the fact that he was swinging is definitely a better result than watching that pitch go by.
Indeed. Next up, Soren Hansen, the pitcher of last game, now the first baseman, who went down looking, was David's first strikeout of the game. He pops this one foul. O'Hara and Brown can't quite make a play on that, as it slices a little too far away from them. David out in front again. And that's a sign that a pitcher's having a good game. If he's getting those first pitch strikes, especially if they're swinging at them too, it means that the pitches look good, but they're not quite good enough for batters to hit. So it's also just a psychological advantage. If the pitcher can always be thinking, all right, I'm in front, I'm in control here.
Right. Well, I think the pitcher-batter duel is quite a mental one.
That's a ball. Count will even at 1-1. And even for these even counts, like 1-1 and 2-2, it's the fact that there are strikes in the count is just such a boon for the pitcher and such I don't want to call it a burden for the batter, but it's definitely a weight. It's definitely something to consider more than having balls in the count.
Absolutely. As
there are now, which with the count at 2-1. Hansen having being patient in this at bat. Nice play by the shortstop, Matt Moser. Clean hit from Hansen, just right to Matt Moser, the shortstop, for the second out of the third inning.
Now, in the last game, we saw a couple of misses on plays like that I think were due to it had rained in the morning and was raining at the very beginning of the game, and I think the grass was wet, and if the ball bounces through the grass, the ball is going to be wet, and I think that resulted in a lot of the errors, and so luckily, since the sun is out now, we're not seeing those anymore.
That'll do it. So Matt Garcia, the center fielder, steps in. He had a really nice double in the first inning and eventually came around to score. He rips this one foul down the third baseline. So he's seeing David just as well. He's seeing David just as well as the teammate that drove him, Daniel Sapler. Just needs to be a little more patient on that in order to get that into fair territory for, keep things going for these Colby Mules. David delivers. That one's down low. Count will go to 1-1. Another thing that's allowing David to work this quickly is that he hasn't been leaving men on base that much, especially not last inning and especially not this inning, because you can go through your whole windup rather than having to truncate it in order to keep runners on base. This one's rolled up the middle, right back to Moser, who fires and makes the nice play.
Absolutely, and we've seen time and time again that when there are runners on base, they get into the pitcher's head, and so the pitcher often ends up focusing on keeping those runners on the base and making sure they don't steal or whatever it may be, and that can really mess with their pitching rhythm.
Indeed. Another 3-up, 3-down inning for Andrew David, keeping that groove going along and gives the keeping the Jumbos in this game right now. It's not letting them run away with it the way the Jumbos did with the Mules last game. So Jumbos still very much right with it, hanging with the Mules. And we'll look to break through this inning.
Right. Well, there's plenty of game to still be played going into the bottom of the third.
Anyway, I mentioned earlier, JumboCast underwent a lot of changes a year before I got here, and that was due in part a lot to your efforts, right, Jake?
Yeah.
He's not looking at me right now because
I don't like to talk about it.
This is Jake's. This is Jake's graduating senior right now, and he's he was the general manager for all of last year and really sort of brought everyone on board who know what to do right now. Our executive producer Ishan is sort of motioning to me and giving me a thumbs up for for saying this.
Well,
but this is Jake's last broadcast, so we wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out before before signing off for the last time. I'm sure you'll be back though for.
Well, thank you very much. You guys pushed me to be on the call for this game, so I'm actually pulling double duty right now, which is part of the reason why I'm on the more silent side, working the camera and doing color commentary with Andrew. So Andrew's doing a great job filling in when I am busy with the camera. But I hadn't called a single game in the 4 years that I've been a part of JumboCast because I've been busy doing other stuff.
Can you believe that?
So
our fearless leader.
Before I leave, you guys pushed me to do it.
Get to here is mellifluous tones. Schnepp first pitch swinging is the hard ground ball to the shortstop who just can't quite make the play. It'll be a good question for whether or not that's a hit or an error because that was not a routine ground ball. The shortstop tried to field it like at his eye level, and that would have been quite an impressive play had he made it. So I believe they'll be scoring that as a hit, but
they count that one as an error.
Oh,
to me it looked like that was a really tough ball to catch.
Well, unfortunate for the shortstop there, but that'll be E6, and Schnepp is on first now. Center fielder McCallum up, who grounded out to the second baseman in the first inning. Second look now at the pitcher Will Cohen, who throws a fastball in there for a called strike. McCallum, one of the seniors here for the Jumbos. And the captain, the sole captain for this Jumbo squad. The Mules have three separate captains. And those are Daniel Sapler, Tommy Fariz, and Soren Hansen. Jumbo's deciding to that less is more when it comes to captaincy deal. And McCallum is filling out that role, leadoff captain, quite nicely so far this season.
Yeah, well, McCallum's favorite athlete is Derek Jeter, I learned before the game, which doesn't make me as a Red Sox fan very happy, but to each his own.
Being from Rutherford, New Jersey, that's probably makes a little more sense than being a Red Sox fan or anything like that. So count has gone to 1-1 in this interlude. McCallum looking to keep the momentum that Schnepp has started going. Cohen checks Schnepp on first. Not nearly as much of a steal as Harry Brown was. And McCallum crushes this one into left field, but it's going to be knocked down by the wind. Schnepp almost got into second on that play, but hustles back to first and is in safely. So McCallum gets a nice bit of contact on that one, but it's not enough, especially with the wind just knocking the ball away from left field the way it is right now.
Right, and the distance out to center field here at Huskins Field is 410 feet, and
wow, that's a pro ball distance.
Pretty far, and given all the games that I've watched here, I've seen plenty of home runs, but they're all down right or down left, and I haven't seen any that have made it that far of a distance.
And even the distance between left field to the left field foul pole is 354 feet. Right field foul pole only 309. So it's no surprise that O'Hara's grand slam last game and Farizi's home run this game were both to right field, to straightaway right field. Off-speed pitch to Oscar Cooch is in there for a called strike. Will Cohen's a big fan of his breaking ball, his off-speed offering, if you will. Doesn't quite look like that might have been a changeup actually. There wasn't a lot of, there was not a big hook the way his curveball often has it, but it's good for confusing batters and getting those sneaky strikes.
Yeah, well, I'll chime in and say, as someone who's led a lot of the technical advancements here at JumboCast, I'm hoping next year when I'm watching on that you guys will have some very fancy pitch animation software so that we can analyze them down to the millimeter.
Ishan, you writing this down? So, all right, next year, Cohen checks Schnepp, who as a catcher, I'd be surprised if he tried to steal, but then again, David Ortiz stole a base a couple games ago, and he's not only old but never was fast, was he? So, Will Cohen's offering
that's not why he plays baseball.
Grounded to the second baseman, and the 4-6-3. Oh, beats it out. Cooch just barely manages to beat out the double play. Very nicely, cleanly fielded though by both the shortstop and the second baseman. Just Cooch, a little bit too much speed to prevent the double play.
Right, and that was a close call over on first, but I must say I agree with the umpire. I think it was just about as close of a tie to a tie as you can possibly be.
Matt Moser, the senior shortstop, steps in. Hit that double in the first inning, but could not come around to score. Was left stranded. And first pitch hits him right on the leg, it looks like. Not phased in the least. He tosses his bat and takes his base.
So now after getting our runner out at second, we're back in a situation again.
Yeah,
runners on first and second.
Just like that, Jumbos are threatening. There are 2 outs, though, so this is a 2-out rally, but no better man to have up to keep a 2-out rally, to really spark a 2-out rally than the big man Tommy O'Hara right here.
That's right.
Who grounded out to the first baseman, who put him out in the first inning. But now he's got another chance to really bring this game back into focus for the Colby Mules, keep them off their lead. Fastball is in there for a strike. Can't quite see where it landed in the strike zone due to the big man obscuring the strike zone. But we've got the umpire to keep us honest up here. Cohen comes set, checks the runner, checks Cooch on second, delivers. That one's down low. That one will be a ball to even the count at 1-1. O'Hara very conscious probably of the ground out that he hit last game, or last at bat. That was after only one pitch, so really quick to pull the trigger. Now this time being a little more patient, paying off right there as another ball in the dirt takes the count to 2-1. And I've talked to some some of the jumbo baseball players here, and their coach is very much is a huge advocate of being patient and waiting around for the pitches. You know, doesn't like 3-pitch strikeouts or 2-pitch and then a ground out or 1 pitch and a fly out. Very much wants to tire the pitcher out, make him work, get those at least 6 or 7 pitches per at bat, and those are what they call quality at bats. Really focus on seeing everything that the pitcher has to offer. And Cohen's offering off speed. O'Hara a little bit out in front and above the ball, so that's how it was tapped just immediately down and then spun off into the jumbo's dugout.
Right, and there's a lot of value, I think, in letting the pitcher pitch and letting his pitch count go up if you're batting, because
tire them out and get to the rest of the
exactly.
bullpen. Pitcher's got to be tired by this point in the series, though. Third game, and especially the second game of a doubleheader. Everyone's got to be feeling the fatigue right now.
Right, over the past 2 games between the Colby Mules and the Jumbos here, we've seen a lot of different pitchers come in and out, and so I'm really wondering how deep they can go.
That's a ball. That one was inside. You could see the catcher Del Volpe move inside to catch it. Count is now full with 2 outs and 2 men on. Runners will just be going because they don't need to wait around. And this one's fouled off really lightly into the Tufts dugout. And the reason I say that the runners can just go whenever they need to is because no matter what happens, it's beneficial that they get a head start. If O'Hara walks, then they're already going to be heading to the next base. Strikeout or any other strikeout, inning will be over. And any kind of contact, the farther ahead they can be, the better. Right. So especially with 2 outs, it's important that they get as much of a head start as they can. But then you run into a problem where if the pitcher is a little too aware of his surroundings, he'll try to catch the runners for straying a little too far from their safe spaces at the bases. So Cohen now focused on O'Hara. Comes set, runners go, and O'Hara goes down swinging to end the inning. So that's no runs on no hits. 2 men left on base, though, for the Jumbos in the bottom of the 3rd inning as we head to the top of the 4th. And we will be right back.
So we're back here, and Andrew, I want to start by asking you. So I'm noticing you're covering them up now. Oh, here they are.
Nope.
Let's see if we can get them on camera. So you have some nice nails.
I've got some gorgeous nails.
You tell us the story behind it.
There's no story to it, really. I lost a bet, and the cost of this bet was that my nails need to be this wonderful shade of lilac that they are now. The weekend, so today and tomorrow.
Well, best of luck to you.
It's all right. David's first 2 pitches to Dan. Nope, this is the wrong side. To Andrew Courier, the 4-hitter, the cleanup hitter for the Mules, is ball and a strike in his 3rd offering. It is a bit high for a ball to take the count to 2-1. Courier flew out to left field his first time up. Looking to corks this one off towards the lacrosse field. And that'll be shagged by either a person or a dog. Can't quite see the movement behind there. A lot of dogs out here this time around, especially in that area that it was just fouled off to.
There are a lot of dogs. You know, I won't get into the details of this story, but we were covering a softball game a couple weeks ago. I was walking over to the softball press box, which I think you can see far off in the back of the picture here. And because of all the dogs over there, I stepped in something that was not particularly pleasant.
Doesn't sound like it. Courier goes down on strikes, so he's swinging, thankfully. That'll bring up Daniel Sapler, who singled with an RBI in the first inning. He takes that one high and inside. A little brush back pitch by David to say, hey, get off, this is my plate. Count goes to 0-1, though, or 1-0, excuse me. Sapler steps in, still crowding the plate. Watches this one go in for a strike. Not quite as close as that first pitch, but David asserting his authority in a different way that time around. David, the windup, delivery, and this one's tapped foul right to the Colby third base coach. 1-2 the count now. David very much in control with this at-bat. Can challenge again to try to fake him out a little bit, or as baseball intuition would probably say, it would be to throw something, throw some garbage, see if he chases a bad pitch. That way he doesn't have to waste anything. Good pitch, though, is fisted right into the infield. Nice put out from first to David, who was covering.
And that was actually a closer call than I think it should have been. David was struggling to find the bag there with his foot. I don't know if you saw that. He had the ball in his glove.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a dance
dancing around,
on.
exactly, trying to find the bag behind him.
Quick second out, though, as David keeps up this brisk pace of a baseball game, for which will bring up the 6-hole hitter, Andrew Della Volpe, the catcher who grounded out to Oscar Cooch first time up. This one's slapped foul again, this time past the Colby coach. That'll be strike one.
So we're seeing a lot of pitches to these righty batters that are going down the third base line. So do you think that's a result of them just, you know, their timing being off, or do you think it's a result of David's pitching?
It's a little bit of both, I'd say, as that ball falls in for a ball. David's pitches, they're just looking good, but they're looking too good to the Colby batters. They're just getting a little bit too far out in front. But yeah, it's an example of, at least in the first inning, these guys were getting some good contact and actually having hits fall in for fair hits. Whereas now, and where David's just totally mystifying them, as this one's spiraled off into the parking lot, causing a little bit more joy for
more
the
damage. I know if you've watched other broadcasts here, we're always talking about it because there's a parking lot right behind us. And earlier this game, we saw one of the balls take out the back window of someone's SUV, and they came back and they had to duct tape the whole back of their car before leaving.
That one's slapped foul again. And it's just the case, I think, that the Colby hitters they're just a little too excited. Like, the pitches look good, and they are good because they're being hit. Oh, that one's hit. David trying to force Della Volpe back a little bit and just loses control. That's a hit by pitch, and Della Volpe will advance to first. Chris Sonberg comes up. He was David's second strikeout of the game. That was a swinging strikeout. And that was the first out of the second inning, as we're here in the fourth. Sonberg, who got a decent look at David, actually had about five or six pitches before he went down on strikes. Easy toss from Andrew David, just to remind Della Volpe that he's got an eye on him. He's not going to just let him have free reign over that little corner of the diamond. But he focuses back on Sonberg and blows a heater right by him for strike one. Still working in his groove right now. Nothing was really interrupted by that hit by pitch. It wasn't like a hit. It wasn't like a home run the way Farisi did in the first inning. It was just a little slip. There just happens to be a runner on base. He can't go through his windup as he checks on Della Volpe again.
Right, and that's the second time now that he's checked on Della Volpe, and I think that can hold him back, pulling him back towards first so that he's far less likely to steal or have a significant lead on first.
Just an extra thing on the checklist as he pitches into Sonberg, who lifts this one into center field, but it doesn't quite have the reach that the home run did earlier. as McCallum makes the play. And that'll end the inning for the Mules as they leave one man on base with no hits and no runs. Things are progressing quickly here as we move into the bottom of the fourth inning.
Absolutely, and I'm sure, not that nobody likes a good game of baseball, but a quickly moving game is always a good one, as we are approaching the end of our semester here. And so for the students who are playing the games, they have a lot of other things going on besides baseball.
Yeah, indeed. Finals are coming up. We've got just the end of the year festivities. You've got graduation coming up. How weird is that?
Right. Oh, it's weird.
Spent a lot of
also
time.
Also don't want to talk about that.
All right, well, we'll move on from that a little bit. I get as we watch the Colby hitters, Colby fielders, get ready for the next inning. Talk about what was JumboCast like in the old days, Jake? Well, back in my day.
different.
We didn't have a truck. We didn't have all this fancy new equipment. And he might not be saying anything, but he is nodding. So that's.
Well, you're right. But you've seen a lot of
doesn't want to talk about the hard times, the bad old days
as well. Well, last year was the first year for JumboCast at least that we started covering baseball.
Right.
And so this is only year 2 of baseball for us. There had been a long drought of no baseball coverage. We had just really stuck with football and basketball. But last year we added it in.
We've got a new glut of baseball enthusiasts, myself among them, added to the ranks of JumboCast, who are all very much appreciative of the effort that the boys here put into baseball, and of the ladies who on the softball team who have been doing a bang-up job of just tearing apart the NESCAC. Will Cohen coming back to work the bottom of the fourth inning. As he comes set, delivers a strike into Dan Kelly.
And it's interesting that you mentioned softball, because I will say something that has happened over the 4 years that I've been at Tufts is that the reputation of the athletics programs has really changed.
And Kelly dumps that one into left field for a hit. That's his reaches base for the second time this game, as he walked and eventually came around to score the Jumbo's only run so far this game back in the second.
Yeah, back when I was a freshman, our football team had not won in 4 years. And many of the other teams were really struggling, and it's exciting now because, at least for the Jumbos, they have a lot of teams that have been doing very well.
A lot of teams have been doing a lot better. Soccer, men's lacrosse has been doing excellently.
Right.
Women's basketball went all the way to the championship game.
That's right, and the men's basketball had a great run as well.
Cohen's offering to McLaughlin, which I'm now going to say properly, is
just took a little bit of time.
A little bit off the plate for a ball. 1-0 is the count. Cohen checks the runner. Delivers. Off-speed pitch. Really just fooled McLaughlin right there.
Yeah, you could see his swing was
way out in front and way above, the zone that it was occupying. Count goes to 1-1. So it just really shows the value of having a deceptive off-speed pitch. We've seen the variance in that offering. It
Absolutely.
can have a huge bite when he needs it to, and but he doesn't have to do that. Comes right back in with the heater. But McLaughlin is not fooled, and he slaps that one through the hole into right field for a base hit. Dan Kelly advances to second, and McLaughlin has his first hit of the game. Runners on first and second, and still nobody out. The first 2 batters here have cleanly hit their way into setting the table for Harry Brown, the left fielder. So Brown will be looking to have a productive out. Don't want to do anything unproductive. So long, the bare minimum, I think, right now is to just advance the runners over. It's one of the another one of those credos in baseball. Get them on, get them over, get them in. So
right. I guess a triple play would be about the worst thing that could happen. But besides that, he's got a pretty safe scenario right now.
Do something. It doesn't matter how big. Just do something positive right now. So runners have gotten on. Now he needs to get them over. So Cohen's probably got a pretty big checklist of things he needs to look at. And Cohen taking a little bit too much time. Harry Brown asks for time just to get the kinks out and make sure that he's in the right place mentally.
That's right. I always find that runners on second can be some of the most distracting, because on first and third you can pretty easily see them out of the corner of your vision when you're looking home. Second is much more difficult.
And Cohen's first offering to Brown is high for a ball. maybe he missed. Maybe he was just trying to get Brown to swing at something not as good as Brown would like at this moment in time. So we're really running out of options for putting men on base, and especially with he's got the bottom of the order coming up, but these jumbos are potent top to bottom. And double play ball is muffed by the shortstop, and Kelly comes all the way around to score. So a fielder's choice by the end of all that. Just a little too quick for me to follow there.
There's a lot going on, that's for sure.
A lot going on. Ground out to the shortstop, who was able to make the nice play to the second baseman, who then just had what was a very unfortunate throwing error. Just the sort of theme of the day for the Colby defense right now is just throwing errors.
I mean, that play was really set up by a mistake
in the last game. So Kelly comes all the way around from second to score. McLaughlin is forced out at second, and Brown comes to second on the fielder's choice, followed by the error for the shortstop. Tom Petrie, the second baseman, is up now, who watches a first pitch strike move in.
So with a tie game and a runner in scoring position, the tides have really turned here for both the Mules and the Jumbos.
Indeed. Only one out now for the Jumbos, too, so still plenty of opportunity for Petrie and Eric Schneff to keep the inning going to bring it back up to the top of the order. Change up from Cohen misses down low. Count goes to 1-1. Petrie spits on that one and waits for Cohen's next offering. Checks the runner. Cohen, another changeup. And Petrie fouls that one straight back to bring the count to 1-2. Did I say that? Oh, no, there's a little bit of stuff on the scoreboard right now, but baseball players calling up to fix that for us. Count is 1-2 to Petrie. Takes another cut and fouls that one directly out of fan, but thankfully the fence is there and keeps anything bad from happening.
Yeah, and the Jumbos players are right in front of us since we're standing on top of their dugout here in the press box. So when they noticed that the scoreboard was messed up, they could just turn around and scream right at us.
Petrie's had a nice long look at nice long second look at Cohen, who checks the runner and delivers. This time that's outside. Petrie not having any of it, and the count goes to 2-2. So this is what I'd call a quality at bat. We were talking about this earlier, to having a really nice long look at the pitcher, especially. It's only the fourth inning, and he's done a lot. He's done a lot of work, even though he's done a good job of limiting this really potent Jumbos offense.
Right, and like I said, since the Mules have had so many different pitchers over the past 2 games and now into the third, it's important that they have quick at-bats.
Petrie goes down on strikes for the second time this game. Thankfully swinging this time.
That's correct.
But he's had really nice long looks both times, and so unless Cohen gets pulled in this coach's meeting, he probably won't. He's out there talking it over.
So I was going to say, what do you think this meeting is about here? Since we
just talking about how the game's going. It's a tie game, which is quite frankly a lot better than the game was going at this point.
Right.
A few hours ago. But he's just assessing his fatigue, how his pitchers are feeling, trying to pick his brain, because you can only communicate so much from the dugout.
That's right.
And it's just really helpful to actually get out there and actually say some words and have a conversation with your pitcher to just figure out where the mind's at. Catcher and pitcher definitely have more of a bond, but the coach has to know when to change and what the pitcher's thinking and when maybe they should look at changing them out. Cohen comes set and delivers a ball to Eric Schnepp, who reached base on an error, on another error by the by the Colby infield last inning. Crazy to think that was only an inning ago. 1-0 the count as comes set. And Eric slaps this one to the shortstop, who can't make the play. Colby's second baseman was covering and managed to keep Harry Brown from scoring, but he advances to third, and Schnepp is safe again on yet another error.
Right, and so that's, as you just said, that's another error, and I'm afraid that I may have spoken too soon earlier in this game when I said it was looking different than the previous two, because the previous two were plagued with errors, and it seems like, I won't say we're plagued with errors
Just
yet, but they are racking up.
Unfortunately, just simple plays like that. That really should have been the end to the inning, but now Jumbo's top of the order is back up here with men on the corners. 2 outs, but still plenty of time to do some damage. And a big change, a big hanging breaking ball misses the zone for 1-0 count to Cody McCallum.
Right, and I think that errors like that can be really tough for the entire team. Not only the pitcher, who now has to stay out there and you know, like you said, that should have been the end of the inning, and he now has to pitch more, but for the entire rest of the team.
Cohen delivers. That one's in there for a called strike. McCallum, who is 0 for 2 so far on the day, grounded out to second his first time up and flew out to the left fielder last inning. Definitely looking to really do some damage here in this one of his last remaining games. I think I spoke too soon earlier. They do have another home game here before the end of the season. This is our last JumboCast game, though, that we will be covering. So McCallum really wants to get in on the action with the rest of his teammates. With a 2-1 count, he can do just that right here as Cohen comes set. Gets the sign, checks Schnepp on first, although he's not much of a threat to steal, and slaps this one into the ground, digs it out. Nice off-balance play by the shortstop, pulls him off the bag. It was a really unfortunate just turn of events, but the shortstop's throw was just offline, and first baseman had to reach for it.
I'll say it once again, and I said it a minute ago. Just these mistakes keep adding up, these errors, and they're keeping the Colby Mules out on the field.
Another play that should have honestly ended the inning has given the Jumbos the lead, and
we have another meeting.
Kept the inning going. And another meeting probably means that the switch is going to happen, and he's actually going to the umpire now, which ordinarily, if you're only trying to switch the pitcher, you can just go out to the mound, take the ball, and have a pitcher come in.
Right. My guess is they're talking about the call right there, or whether he was out or not. And I will say, standing right here, it was pretty clear that his first baseman's foot was not on the base.
Came off the bag, and the inning is still going. So, ordinarily, though, if the coach is coming out to talk to the umpire, well, they talk to the main umpire about a double switch, which is what I was going for. But you're obviously more right than I am right now. So,
right. Well, it's tough from the Colby dugout down near third base to see whether the first baseman's foot is on the base, and so it's not really even a call that, in my opinion, he should be arguing, because I don't really know if he could see from there.
I think he's also just, he's a little frustrated by all the calls that are going on right now, because a lot of the ball and strike calls that have been going on have not been going the Mules' way, just just a lot of the really close calls too that could go either way, and that one can't really argue just kind of offhand. It's just been piling up more and more for the Mules.
Right, I think piling up, yeah, that's the correct way to say it.
And it's really important for the Mules, who don't have as explosive of an offense as the Jumbos have demonstrated last game. It's really important to keep the score down and really keep it as a pitcher's
Right,
role.
if they fall into a hole, I think we'll begin to see a game very much like the last one that we watched.
Cohen still out there working. Delivers a strike to Oscar Cooch, who reached last time on a fielder's choice, but is currently 0 for 1 on the day, or in the game. Excuse me. Cohen, still on the stretch. No windup for him. Delivers. This one's slapped up the middle, but play cannot be made. Really nice play to stop the ball from going to the outfield by that Colby second baseman, but no play can be made. I believe they are indeed scoring that as an infield hit, and the bases are now loaded for the senior shortstop, Matt Moser.
Right, and there's no complaining from me there. That would have been a really hard play, and I would have been very impressed if he was out at second.
Super impressed if he had been able to make that. But fact remains that it is still the bottom of the fourth inning for the Jumbos, and the bases are loaded for one of their best players right now. Moser is 1 for 1, and he crushes this one into the left center gap, and that's going to be caught by on a nice running play by the Mules outfield to keep the game close. Jumbos do a lot of damage. They score twice and take the lead this game, but that is all they can do as we move into the top of the 5th inning.
And with, 1 run separating the two teams, far from over, I wouldn't even say that's much of a deficit that Colby should be concerned about.
Still, you can hear the wind rustling through the microphones a little bit, and the American flag is billowing out nicely as it's blowing directly into right field still. So short fence, strong wind, still a recipe for a lot of nice hits out into the right field area.
That's right, and from raining this morning, we went to it being a very sunny day, and now some clouds are starting to move in, so the sun has settled behind them. I want to just take a moment to mention that the Jumbos today are wearing special wristbands. Actually, sorry, both the Jumbos and the Mules are wearing special wristbands in honor of ALS. So you may be noticing those. I'm not sure if you can see them in your picture.
Yeah, just ALS kind of, I think they're yellow in color. You can see they're not quite as wide as the more noticeable Livestrong bands, but it's a good show of just sort of awareness of the disease of Lou Gehrig's disease. So top of the 5th coming up for the Mules. There's Crocker, Starks, and Farisi. So 8, 9, and leadoff spots looking to take back the lead from the Jumbos that the Jumbos wrested away from them. Crocker, who grounded out to soft ground out to David in the 2nd inning. This will be his 2nd time getting a look at pitcher David, who is working. So Crocker forces a bunt, but it goes foul. Must be confident in his speed if he's looking to bunt for a base hit, because that's the only. There's nobody to sacrifice over, and he's got to be fast in order to work out a single out of that.
Right, and it looks like he's still planning to bunt, so that must be the play that he's going for.
Bunt again, but unfortunately, count has gone 0-2 right now, and it's very inadvisable for him to try to bunt again. If he bunts it and it goes foul, that will count as a strike, and he will be out. No bunt for Crocker that time, as he spits on that one, and the count goes to 1-2. Very much forced into hitting properly by Andrew David. Andrew David attacking the zone. David delivers. That one's inside, as you can see Crocker jump out of the way of that one, and the count evens at 2-2. Making Andrew David work a little bit, not giving him any slack right now. This will be the 5th pitch of the at-bat. And the windup delivery is down low. Count goes full right now. So from 0-2 to 3-2, Crocker's had a nice at-bat of just seeing all range of offering from Andrew David, who winds up, delivers. Ball is high.
You're right. So from the 0-2 count, Crocker did a great job of waiting, just letting those pitches come in. They were outside.
And I think it was a kind of cat and mouse game, because David has sort of seen the aggression that the Mules have been showing with all these foul balls that they've been handing off to the left field side. But Crocker exhibiting a lot more patience by not taking any of the garbage offerings that David decided to try to tempt him with
Definitely.
the reputation that he's had for some meaty offerings. So Crocker wins that duel and takes his free pass as umpire resets his mask, I guess, or he's got a pen out.
Not quite sure what he's doing. We actually saw yesterday a ball was missed by the catcher, and it hit the umpire in the chest.
Oh.
And he was all right, but he looked a little winded for a second. So it's a dangerous job back there.
Easy toss by David to just say to Crocker, I know you're there. Want to make sure you know I'm slightly faster check back on the runner.
And when you see the throws over to first like that twice in a row, I think it shows that Crocker's really getting into David's head.
More so than he ought to be right now. He's got to focus on just to keep the game moving. Still no outs. But David comes right back with a strong strike down into the heart of the zone. David still looking for the sign. Checks on Crocker. Easy toss again. David slowing his rhythm down mightily in the middle part of this game. It's thrown 4 innings though. Only 2 runs that the Mules have to show for it. As Crocker takes off running and is thrown out by a mile. It wasn't even close for that one.
Was not close. You're right.
Crocker must have been supremely just even more confident in his speed that we originally thought.
Right, and the throw from home to second was also a great one. We've seen many steals that would have been close, but the runner was safe because the throw was just a little too high.
Schneff's been really doing a nice job showing off his cannon, making it clear that it's not safe to steal. Oh, gosh, that was right into the lacrosse after party that's going on right now. Thankfully, it didn't hit anyone, but it was.
Yeah, that's awfully dangerous. That's why I said earlier there should be some netting behind home plate.
David comes set. Throws high. Count goes to 1-2 to Starks, who is now working with 1 out and an empty diamond rather than none out and a man on first. So David pitches and gets them looking. So you could see how he kind of turned inside because it looked like it was going to be breaking into him, but I guess it stayed the course just enough to stay in the strike zone. And Starks goes down looking for the 2nd out of the 5th. This won't be quite a 3-up, 3-down inning if he gets Farisi here, but it'll be just as good for the Jumbos if David can keep up the good work. So David back to his windup, delivers a strike, an off-speed pitch. That looked like a changeup. You can see that the arm motion looks the same as it would with a fastball, but then takes not a much longer time, but a decent amount of more time. This one's smacked foul the way that most of these righty foul balls have been this game, as Farisi still trying to keep, he's hanging back. And that one was almost fair, actually, and he's doing a nice job of hanging back more. He just needs to do it a little bit more if he wants to land something fair. David delivers. That one's a heater on the outside, 0-2 pitch. He's not going to give Farisi anything at all good to hit, especially considering that leadoff home run to start the game.
Right, and you were just talking about different pitches that can be thrown, and being, as that ball is foul, being not much of a baseball player myself, I remember back in high school I was trying to learn a bunch of these different pitches with a friend of mine who knew about them. And the small technique that goes into making each pitch different is really interesting and very, very fascinating.
If hitting a fastball is the hardest thing to do in sports, then throwing a fastball's got to be the second hardest thing. And Farisi goes down looking for the first time this game, goes down on strikes for the second time, as David has himself what is just as good as a 1-2-3 inning. Still keeping that nice, quick, slowed down a little bit for Tyler Starks, but then he just picked it right back up to keep Farisi off his toes. Coming up for the Jumbo, so the Mules score no runs on no hits and leave no men on base. Jumbos had no errors in that inning. We'll be coming up to the bottom of the 5th inning with bottom of the 5th inning with Tommy O'Hara leading off, Dan Kelly and Mike McLaughlin, the heart of the order, if you will, the 4, 5, 6 batters coming up. O'Hara really looking to do some damage. The Jumbo's best hitter is 0 for 2 on the day right now with a ground out and a strikeout. So he's got 2 looks so far at Cohen, who is staying in the game. It is only the bottom of the 5th inning. So still in line for the quality start where he to make it all the way through 6 innings with only 3 runs allowed. So.
Right, and it's turned into quite a beautiful day here. I mean, we have a decent number of people in the stands here because there was a lacrosse game earlier. A lot of them have moved over, and some have lined up along the fence, I think, to watch this game. And compared to some of the games that we covered earlier in the season, I think we've both been at several of them. It can get cold, rainy, windy, and it can be very miserable.
Especially.
Of course, the sun comes out right now while we're talking about it.
Just to keep us honest. So,
Mother Nature's being nice to us today.
Tommy O'Hara stepping in and get his 3rd look at Will Cohen, who winds up and delivers an off-speed pitch that he pops straight up. And, not quite straight up. That was over on top of the dugout, which that'll bounce off towards the softball field. Count goes to 0-1. Wind's kind of shifted now. It's now blowing directly in. Going to knock down anything that goes out towards left field. And this one's, tattooed directly towards the first baseman who just can't quite hold on to it. Unfortunate, but I would be shocked if they called that anything besides a hit, because that was just perfectly well hit. He just couldn't quite make the play.
That would have been a tough one to make a play on, for sure.
And indeed, they are scoring that as a hit. So that'll be O'Hara's first hit on the day. That's a clean single that was almost robbed by the first baseman here. So Jumbos are now setting up for their own continuation of last innings rally to take more of a lead, as Will Cohen delivers to Dan Kelly, the designated hitter who has scored 2 of the Jumbos' 3 runs. Walked in the first inning and scored on Harry Brown's single later, and then singled and scored eventually on Harry Brown's on an error by one of the Colby Mules.
Right, and Dan Kelly is from Arlington, Mass., which for those of you who are not from around here is very nearby, actually. The drive from Medford to where we are to Arlington is just about 5 minutes, I want to say. So he didn't go very far to play baseball in college.
O'Hara checked on by Will Cohen. Back easily. You know, for such a big guy, O'Hara's very quick on his feet. Can take a lead, but then jump back very fast to the base if he needs to. Will Cohen pitches. That one's I call that a hanger, because there was some movement on it, but it wasn't quite good enough for Dan Kelly to really bite for it. Count goes to 2-1. Will Cohen checks O'Hara, comes set, delivers, and Kelly smacks that one into left field for a base hit. O'Hara's going to round second, but think better of it, as well he should have. It wasn't too deep, even though it was a nice clean hit, and the left fielder fielded it nicely. So he'll stop at second. Kelly will go to first, and the first 2 hitters of this inning have made it, setting the table for Mike McLaughlin, whose name I have now gotten down to a science.
You've gotten it right.
McLaughlin singled his last time up. That was last inning, actually, in helping out the rally. He was forced out in part of an attempted double play, but couldn't quite and couldn't come around to score. Now Cohen leaves the game after 4 full innings of work. He gave up 3 runs on, I believe, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits. 3 runs on 7 hits, and just a woeful number of errors.
That's right. Unfortunately, as a pitcher, you know, the errors are not really your fault.
And the new pitcher for the Colby Mules, Jake Connolly, another senior for the Mules, who's 1-4 with a 6.14 ERA on the year.
So this is funny. So Andrew David shares the same first name as you. And now Colby's new pitcher and myself, Jake, we have the same first name as well.
Indeed. And the Andrews and the Jakes just covering this whole game right now. So Andrew Connolly's going to be warming up for a little bit as he steps in for Will Cohen, who really honestly did just a fantastic job limiting at least a better job than the pitcher for last game, limiting this Jumbo's offense. But pitch count, we've said it so many times so far this game, there's been long at-bats with high pitch counts per at-bat, so just fatigue, the end of the day on Saturday with a 3rd game coming up. It was probably time to bring in a fresh arm.
Right, and I mean, I think that's speaking to the Jumbo strategy, as we mentioned, which is have the pitcher pitch a lot, and eventually you just become so tired that you can't keep doing it. And I will say that yesterday's game, the duration for those who did not get to watch it, it was 3 hours 43 minutes was the official time of the game. So it was a very lengthy one, and it went 10 innings, and so that really has fatigued everyone and went into late in the evening yesterday, and then the players all had to go rest up and be here. I arrived around 10, and they were already here on the field, so you know it's been a long weekend for them.
So Jake Connolly, another a senior, as I said, in for one of his final games as a senior. Close game with a tough conference opponent right now. It's probably just what he wants right now. So he'll be facing Mike McLaughlin, who is looking to really just blow this game open for the Jumbos as well he can right now with 2 men on and nobody out. And that was a funky little move right there. I guess he hadn't quite
You
come.
can say that again.
Didn't come quite set. Like no balk was called, but he did a little pirouette on the mound to check back on Tommy O'Hara, who was taking just a little bit of too much of a lead off of second. So focuses back into his catcher now to get the signs as he looks over to Dan Kelly, but delivers. And that ball gets by him, and the runners are going to advance. So first pitch was a little bit wild, and the catcher couldn't quite hold on to it. Della Volpe doing the best he can, but runners did advance. So now O'Hara's on third, Kelly's on second, still nobody out.
Yeah, well, I must say Connolly looks a little unsettled on the mound. I mean, he just came out here, and first pitch there didn't look particularly.
Definitely trying to put out the sparks right now. So
That's right.
but the thing is, he always had a base, and now he has more of a reason to just kind of play around with McLaughlin. He doesn't have to give him really anything to hit because he has an open base. He can do. Oh gosh, that one was right down, bounced off the plate, I think. Just another wild pitch. Count goes to 2-0 for McLaughlin, and a run scores. So it is now 4-2 to the Jumbos on that wild pitch, and Kelly advances to third. So still nobody out.
That's unfortunate for the Mules.
Really, it really is the case because Cohen was keeping the ball up, and he was giving Della Volpe to chance to sort of just keep it in front of him, and the first 2 pitches for Connolly have just been wild and have led to a run scored and another run in scoring position right now, or another runner in scoring position. So 3-0 the count right now. Still just Connolly just trying to get his breath back and breathe into his groove right now. So really not that big of a deal if he walks, but really needs to try to get the out right here. That ball is low, and that's going to be a walk for McLaughlin. Just easy takes all the way, especially with those first 2 wild pitches. And here comes the Colby coach, probably just to sort of like talk him down from whatever sort of bundle of nerves that he's got going on, especially with this this game. So
We've seen over the past couple innings a lot of visits from the Colby coach to the mound. So he's been working hard to keep his pitchers.
Looks like I spoke too soon. Stick a fork in him. He is done. Jake Connolly is out of the game after 1 batter and 4 pitches. So we bring in a new guy, number 14.
Well, I think that's a good call. You could leave him in and potentially cause more problems.
Tommy Farisi, the leadoff hitter, is coming in for the Mules to pitch right now. Farisi, who was the DH, is still going to be the DH, I think, according to NESCAC rules. That is something that is allowed. DH can be a pitcher, and it can be sort of more like a National League game in the majors. So he should still be allowed to hit.
Well, and the pace of the game has slowed down a bit now because of the change in pitchers now. We've had 2 very recently.
Yep, it's still the 5th inning. Been a little while as we've been working through this.
And I think for the Mules at this point, they're thinking, there's plenty of time left in the game, but it can be hard to, with the score 2-4, think about a comeback after you've lost the other 2 games in the series,
Always hard.
The feeling, the sentiment on the Mules team must be that this is really going to be an uphill battle.
But as the late, great Yogi Berra always said, it ain't over till it's over.
That's right.
Still a lot of baseball to play. Last game was only 7 innings, and that's just how NESCAC doubleheaders work. The first game is always 7 innings unless it goes to extras. But this one didn't. It was just 7 innings, and now we've got the full 9-inning slate to get through. So it's only the bottom of the 5th. We're just a little more than halfway there. So if you've stuck around with us this long, thank you very much. And, you've been here this long, you might as well stick around for the long haul. We're having a great time, though, especially now with this weather. Good gracious. It's a gorgeous day.
Beautiful.
The clouds are leaving us, and the sun's still peeking
Yeah,
through.
well, I wonder what's going on on the Pres lawn right now. Maybe I'll explain what it is first. So here at Tufts, a lot of the students on these nice days like to go and spend some time outside in the backyard of the president's house. It's a nice green, grassy, hilly, or not hilly area, but it's a hill. And just kind of sit outside and do work. So I'm guessing right now, obviously we can't see it, but I bet you there are a lot of students enjoying this day right now.
Indeed, you're probably correct. I won't say you are correct because I can't see it either. But we've still got a ways to go. More baseball, and you know what could be better than baseball on a beautiful Saturday like this? So Harry Brown, the left fielder, is going to be stepping in. He scored last time he was up. There was a fielder's choice and an error that sort of led to him advancing along the base paths. And he smacks this one, lifts it into right center field. Right fielder is going to get under it. That'll be the first out of the inning. And Kelly tags up on the play and scores from third. That'll increase the Jumbos lead to 5-2 now for the Jumbos. And just a really excellent, productive out for Harry Brown right there. You know, it's at this point in the game, you don't have to do a whole lot. It's just something positive, and that was all you needed to do right there. Kelly was already on third, lifted it out to the appropriate distance, and increased the lead for Andrew David. So Andrew David can sort of breathe a little bit easier when next time he gets out on the mound. Tom Petrie, the second baseman, steps in. Takes a ball for his first pitch. Farisi comes set, delivers. That's a ball outside. That is 2-0 now, another hitter's count. Still making these Colby pitchers work for it. They're not going to, no free swinging from this Jumbo's squad. 3-0 to Petrie. Petrie 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts so far on the day. He's not going to be caught with another K to his name. Not going to take that golden sombrero.
And McLaughlin's been taking, well, not right now, but he was taking some nice leads earlier.
There's a strike. Strike on the outside corner for Petrie. That'll bring the count to 3-1. A little bit more reason for Petrie to think about getting that bat off his shoulder, as it has not left it quite yet. Farisi comes set, delivers. As Harry Brown takes off, or excuse me, Tom Petrie and McLaughlin.
Yep.
Oh, that was a ball. Excuse me, he didn't even need to take off.
That's right. It was a walk anyway, but
Petrie.
He was ready to go, running for second.
Petrie avoids that golden sombrero. He's still 0 for 2 on the day, but that walk doesn't count. But he can definitely hold his head up a little bit higher, that he could sort of glean out a walk from that at bat, get on base, and keep the inning going for Eric Schnepp, the catcher, who's 0 for 0 on the day. You know, just a smorgasbord of different kinds of days at the plate. Petrie 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Schnepp has reached both times he's come up, but both have been on errors by the shortstop, so just fielding errors rather than throwing errors the way that others have reached base. Schnepp definitely will be looking for his first hit of the game. Right. He's had some really excellent defense behind the plate so far.
That's right, and with runners on first and second here and only 1 out in an inning, which has seemed to drag on in a sense, you know, this is a place where the Mules really need to stop.
Farisi comes set, delivers. That's a strike. This one's on the outside corner. A little bit of a hanger there. Schnepp just waiting for his pitch right now. Farisi checks McLaughlin on second. Delivers. That one's down low, and this one gets by Della Volpe, who gets to it in time to convince McLaughlin not to go. That brings the count to 1-1.
He thought about it for sure. I want to say he was about a third of the way between second and third there, but then thought better of it and turned around.
McLaughlin's like Harry Brown in that respect, in that he's always looking to take the extra base when the opportunity arises, whether it's stealing a base or taking third on a single from first. That's a ball outside to Schnepp, who is now 2-1 on this count. It's just a war of attrition whenever you play the Jumbos, because they are not going to be free swingers. Their coaches are just drill it into their heads to keep the bat on the shoulder until they see the right pitch. Schnepp getting impatient with Farisi, takes time to mentally shake himself out and get prepared again. And something that I noticed earlier is that all these jumbos stay really far back in the box. I noticed it earlier with Tom Petrie and here again with Eric Schnepp. They're all the way back on this this back line. And that, I guess, is to give them as much time as possible to see the pitch rather than being up in the front of the box.
Right, so obviously standing further back in the box, they have just a hair of a second longer to judge the pitch before it gets to them.
3-1 the count goes from Farisi to Eric Schnepp. Really not much room left for Farisi to do stuff. He's got to bring it back into the zone, which he doesn't do, and Schnepp will take the walk and continue his 0 for 0 day at the plate.
Right, well, with 2 walks in a row now, it's looking even more dicey for the Mules. Bases loaded now.
Bases loaded, still only 1 out on the inning. It's bottom of the 5th, still got a ways to go for this game. Leadoff hitter Cody McCallum, this will be the 3rd inning in a row that he's hit. He is 0 for 2 on the day, excuse me. He is grounded out to the second baseman, flown out to left field, and reached on an error. Table is set for him, though. Senior captain looking to do some damage for his jumbo squad again this game. He watches a first pitch strike sail in. McCallum getting some exhortations from his teammates who are all admirably invested in this game right now.
Right, I think they're all looking for a grand slam just like we saw last game.
Going on this 5th hour of baseball.
Right, but at this point that's not necessary. Like you said, any safe play, if you
yeah,
can get a single, score a run.
Positive, small positive
The
movements.
Jumbos will still be in good shape.
1-1 the count now after that ball down in the dirt. Farisi getting the sign. Not worrying too much about the batters. Not really anywhere for them to go now. He delivers. And that's a ball in the outside corner, looks like. In there for a strike. 1-2 the count now to McCallum, who's definitely in a bit more of a position than any of the last 3 batters have been. Brown took control and got the sacrifice fly earlier, and then 2 walks in a row to Petrie and Schnepp. This is the first time that sort of pitcher's count has been encountered by the Jumbos. So McCallum's got to work for this one. The delivery? That one was way up in the zone, looking like Pablo Sandoval a little bit, swinging at the eyes.
Not sure why he swung at it, but even once he swung, I'm surprised that he was able to make contact considering how high it was.
Shades of Yogi Berra and Pablo Sandoval, the two bad ball hitters themselves. One was a lot better than the other at hitting bad balls.
Right.
So Callum lives to see another pitch. Still 1-2 the count. He's got to be comfortable in this situation, though. He's been playing for baseball for so long. As Farisi comes set, delivers, and he goes down on strikes. Does not even get the bat off his shoulder. So that's a strikeout looking at backwards K in the scorebook, and just a really unfortunate result for McCallum.
Right, but in the same vein, unfortunately for the Mules, that was a great strikeout, but the bases are still loaded.
Still loaded. 2 outs now, though.
They still need 1 more out. That's right.
Thankfully, the 2 outs. Sac fly will not score a run anymore.
That's right.
So they need to get a hit. Cooch needs to, Oscar Cooch, the right fielder, needs to do some damage the way he did last time when he hit a single. Farisi delivers. This one's popped up into out of play areas off towards the lacrosse field. This is the first time Cooch is seeing Farisi, but Farisi hasn't been, as we've said, Farisi has not gotten very much under control recently.
And we spoke earlier, actually, about the Preslon, I said, where all the students like to go at Tufts when it's a sunny and nice day out. Well, guess where Cooch's favorite location on campus is?
The Preslon?
You guessed it just right.
I wonder if that's the case when it's snowy and frozen outside.
Probably not.
Because at that point in time, my favorite location is my room.
Although the nice thing about the Preslon, because I said it was a hill, even when it's snowy, you can go out there and sled.
True. Lots of little kids out there every day for sledding. 1-1 the count goes to 1-2 now on that strike to Cooch. And Farisi, I guess, is settling into his rhythm. There must be a reason why he was sort of brought in. It was just,
Right, we saw the 2 walks, and now it's changed the pace.
Yeah, kind of like a high school team where your best hitter and your best pitcher are the same guy. Farisi throws that one down and away. effort to keep Cooch from getting something good, especially with the bases loaded and 2 out. Cooch is definitely going to be swinging at anything hittable, anything even close to the zone.
I just wanted to follow up on, you said your pitcher and your best hitter are probably the same person in high school. You know what? They're probably also the quarterback and center on the basketball team as well.
True. And Cooch grounds that one out to the second baseman, who cleanly fields it and ends the inning. You could see Schnepp doing a little bit of a dance to it, keep from getting hit on that ground ball. So the Jumbos score twice on 2 hits and 2 walks. They leave 3 men on base. There was no errors from Colby, and we will move on to the 6th inning. As now we're getting into the kind of the end of the middle zone and starting to get into the late game. And Colby's really going to either need to start chipping away or do something big pretty quickly if they want to stay in this.
Absolutely.
So they've got Hansen, Garcia, and Courier coming up, though. 2, 3, 4 hitters. Not quite the meat of the order that we referred to earlier, but still, I'd say an even better area of the order to jumpstart something good.
Right, and as you said, so this is a really important point in the game for the Mules if they want to come back and pull ahead. And David now has been pitching for quite some time, and so
5 innings. 5 innings. Couldn't say how many pitches, but he's definitely got to be feeling some fatigue right now.
And so for the Mules, this is an ideal time. I think they should try to take advantage of that.
Take advantage of this guy who most have seen twice already. Only Tommy Farisi has been the only one to see him 3 times, but he's struck out twice after hitting that leadoff home run. So evidence of just David really settling nicely into his rhythm. And so I'd wager to guess, actually, that David will probably keep his, unless something happens, unless something really gets into his head and messes with him, that he'll keep this shutdown rhythm that he's going to, because it's like most other things in sports. Once you start feeling good, once you start getting into getting into your own groove, it's really hard to dislodge you from that. So Soren Hansen steps in and checks his first delivery. That one's outside. Could you actually hear the umpire say that one? That'll be a first pitch ball to the first baseman, Hansen. And David delivers. That one's in there for a called strike. This time more on the inside corner. Just a nice little challenge fastball to bring the count back. David comes set, delivers. This one's fouled off of Hansen's foot. You could see him just jumping around and now trying to shake it out a little bit. Those are the worst. I playing Little League, and when the 2 worst things of the matter were fouling it off your foot or getting that really weird buzzy, tingly,
that's gotta hurt
vibrating
anytime
hit.
you foul a ball off of your body, whether it's your shin, your foot, your kneecap. It's gotta hurt.
1-2 the count now to Hansen. And this one's smacked on the ground to the first baseman, who will put it out himself. First baseman McLaughlin for the first out of the 6th inning. And number 8, Matt Garcia, will come to the plate. He scored the 2nd run of the Mules, but that was all the way back in the 1st inning. He's had only one at bat after that, and that was on a clean ground ball to the shortstop, Matt Moser. David's offering is a strike. Just an easy one to attack the zone and stay out in front of Garcia. And we said it earlier, but David's just been doing a really great job of attacking the zone. I wish I'd been keeping a tally of first pitch strikes that he's been hitting. And Garcia quickly goes into an 0-2 hole already. So David's really in control here. He can, pound the zone again. He can give him some kind of garbage that no one will want to hit and try to get him to chase. But David's just been doing a great job of just staying, attacking the zone in his own way, on his terms, and not letting the hitters dictate the terms of stuff. This one's popped up. It's going to be in the infield right there for Tom Petrie, who will stay under it and make the catch for out number 2. Very quick inning so far. Probably the fastest of the game since the 3rd inning, when there were 2 quick ground balls and a strikeout. So
one of the facets of the game for sure, and in complete contrast to the last half inning that we watched.
that took so long. But here we are with Andrew Courier, the right fielder, who's flown out to left field and struck out so far. He'll watch that first pitch go by for a ball. David still keeping up his brisk pace. Delivers. That one was, don't know where that hit, but the umpire was very confident in the fact that it was a ball.
Looked a little bit low to me.
Courier's in the driver's seat now with a 2-0 count. 2 outs now in this top half in the 6th inning. David still dealing. He winds up, delivers. And this one's corked off into foul territory. Long run for Harry Brown, but does not quite have the speed to get there.
I'll give him credit for it.
A for effort.
Diving, sliding to get to that, but he was just about 2 or 3 feet off.
That's the kind of ball you have to be playing on the foul line in order to get. And he's playing straightaway left field in order to cover the gaps as best he can. So, just unfortunate starting position. And Schnepf goes out to have a quick conference with David. Just saying, you know, keep doing what you're doing because it's great. Little kinks in that first inning have been worked out perfectly right now. David delivers. And this one's up the middle, right to Tom Petrie, who fields it cleanly, even with a bad bounce, and throws to McLaughlin for the force out.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think one of the biggest differences in this game, as we just saw with that throw, is that the Jumbos have looked really sharp.
Sharp on the defense, exactly. There was that inning, that 4th inning when goodness knows how many unforced errors were caused by the Colby Mules that just kept the inning going, and kept Will Cohen in the game, and he should have been out 20 pitches before he actually did, finish the inning, but that Colby defense just could not pick him up. So as we move on to the top half of the 7th inning, bottom half of the 6th inning. Good gracious, what am I doing? Bottom half of the 6th inning right now, we've got Matt Moser, Tommy O'Hara, and Dan Kelly. Another dangerous trio for the Colby Mules to have to face down.
Yeah, well, they said it, the crew during the first game of today said it, that there's really no part of this Jumbo's lineup that you want to face. So it's really tough as a pitcher. No matter where you start, you always have a tough look.
We've got a new pitcher in, Bobby Faries, sophomore, who I would probably hazard to say is the younger brother of Tommy Faries. I'm just getting confirmation from our announcer over here. Younger brother of Tommy Faries, Bobby Faries, is now in for the Colby Mules. So we'll get to see how he does against this Jumbo's offense. Hopefully a little bit better than Bobby, but I'm going to get these mixed up. Tommy's the older one. Bobby's the younger one. I'm going to write that down right now. But
yeah, well, Bobby is a sophomore and Tommy is a senior. So the two of them are separated by 2 years.
Thing to remember, though, is that Bobby's not actually out of the game yet. Bobby is still, Tommy is still in the game because he is still the designated hitter. Tommy was brought in as a pitcher, and now Bobby cannot pitch anymore. But Tommy's still in the game. Bobby is now pitching. That's got to be pretty cool.
It's hard when you can't refer to them by last name because it's a little ambiguous.
It reminds me a little. Interesting that they're so close in age. And they decided to go to the same school and be on the same team. I remember my brother and I playing Little League together. Never wanted to be on the same team.
Well,
could not be on the same team.
Some siblings just have a really tight bond and love to do everything together, and others, it's not that they dislike each other, but, sometimes you don't want to spend all your time with your brothers and sisters.
Made it really hard for my parents when we had to play each other, too, because they didn't know what to do. So they'd be on one side for one inning and the other side for the other inning, and it's definitely a balance to be struck there.
Yeah, well, maybe this makes it easier on their parents who, if we're both going to play baseball in college, they don't have to go to 2 different games every weekend. They can
How considerate of them. So very considerate
of them. Their children they were thinking hard.
Well, a little bit of jawing between the Colby coach and the umpire. but everyone's setting up right now. Bottom of the 6th inning. Still a ways to go. 5-2. Still, game's still very much within striking distance for the Colby Mules. David's just been, on his game now. So hopefully Bobby Faries can do a little bit of damage against this deadly part of the lineup. First pitch strike to Matt Moser bodes well for Bobby's performance.
I was reading a bit about Moser before the game, and guess what his favorite pregame meal is?
What is it?
Chipotle.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah, I wouldn't think that would be ideal because, Chipotle can be pretty filling.
Not
and,
for me.
It can sometimes cause problems for, I would think before a game, it wouldn't be the ideal food. But he said his favorite thing is Chipotle, and myself being a big fan of Chipotle, I totally understand why he likes it.
Well, Bobby's got him in an 0-2 hole right now. Goes for an off-speed pitch, but misses high, or he might have missed high, but that probably was his intention because you don't want anything really even close to the zone. But Bobby Faries is very much working with the same brisk pace that his older brother and Andrew David have been working with. And he gets him on strikes. Look at that. Wow. Just, I thought I heard.
Not sure what the holdup was there.
I thought I heard a little bit of a foul tip before it went into his glove. But the fact of the matter is that he swung, tipped it, but then it went into his glove, which still counts as a strike. And that's probably what he was referring to. Matt Moser down on strikes, though, to the sophomore Bobby Faries. Starting off really well. Tommy O'Hara, though, coming up. The big man himself. As Bobby throws. Another foul into that lacrosse after party that we mentioned earlier. They're really
I'm a little nervous just watching that happen. It was only a couple feet away from a couple people.
But Owen won the count to O'Hara. Oh, foul. Ooh, that did not look good. Well, just going to shake it off. And that's the same just kind of crappy outcome of a bat because that just hurts. There's not any kind of protection down there because.
Yeah, if that was me, I don't think I'd be standing up right now.
It took a little longer. Like that extra pause was a little scary, but he's now in an 0-2 hole to Bobby Faries.
Now, it's possible, I know, that you can fracture bones with these foul balls, right? In your foot and in your lower leg?
It might be, the balls might be made of cork and leather, but that doesn't change the fact that they're still really hard, and there's a lot of momentum that goes into them from pitches and hitting them. So this one was incredibly high, just trying to get O'Hara to chase something, but O'Hara spits on it and waits to see another offering from Bobby Faries. Quickly moving through his windup. The delivery gets him on strikes. Just wasn't even dropped, and that are 2 consecutive strikeouts from the sophomore Bobby Faries. 2 outs now in the bottom of the 6th inning, and we move on to Dan Kelly, the designated hitter, who has scored 3 of the Jumbo's 5 runs. I know I mentioned this earlier, but that was back when only 2 of the Jumbo's 3 runs have been scored. Well, he's scored again. He is 2 for 2 on the day with 2 singles, a walk, and 3 runs scored. That first offering for Bobby Faries is a strike, and Bobby Faries is just pounding the zone right now. He is taking no prisoners with this Jumbo lineup. Meat of the order, says Bobby Faries. I'll have it for lunch or dinner. I guess it's getting kind of late over here.
Oh, we were treated to a very nice spread in between games.
Delicious spread. 1-1 account to Dan Kelly. Faries comes set, delivers, and slaps this one right to the first baseman. Bobby Faries covering, puts him out. Yeah, and that's a 1-2-3 inning from Bobby Faries, the sophomore, the younger brother of Tommy Faries, who
very impressive inning.
No problems at all, and we'll definitely be seeing more of the younger Faries sibling, and maybe that's bodes well for the Colby Mules, especially if he's only a sophomore so far. I'll look at another couple of good years out of him.
Absolutely, and I was just referring to the delicious spread that we were treated to between the games. So the Jumbo's parents, and Colby's here as well, the Colby parents, they put together a nice little barbecue and food for the parents and not the players, of course, because they need to get ready for the second game, but for all of us who are here helping to enjoy in between games, which is great because, like I said, we've been here since early in the day, and to have to do that without food would be awfully difficult.
Gosh, it's 5 o'clock over here, and you said you got here at 10?
That's right.
That's a full work day right there. We're going to be here until after 6 probably, probably close to 7. Well.
These doubleheaders are lengthy, but, it's a nice day, so I can't complain.
Yeah. It's just I remember the start of a doubleheader last year where it was in April, yes, but it was raining, high 30s, and just wind
I remember
everywhere.
that game.
And wasn't the second game canceled, thankfully?
I think so, and we were incredibly happy. But even that first game was absolutely
still
miserable.
Because, Ishan's in the press box right now. He's working the computer. It's not very warm in there, right? Like, not by itself. No, he's shaking his head right now. He's wearing some, like, shorts right now. And if it was any colder than it is right now, I'm pretty sure he'd be kind of miserable.
Well, luckily he's shielded from the wind, but still there's no sun in there. So when it's cold out here, it's cold in there too.
Indeed. So we've got, coming up in the top of the 7, we've got Daniel Sapler, Andrew Della Volpe, and Chris Sonberg, for the Mules coming up, looking to bring this game back a little bit closer from where it is right now.
Yeah, I'm noticing another conversation now taking place between the coach of the Mules and the umpire behind home plate again, and they've been speaking quite a lot. It seems like between every inning almost, so there's definitely something that he's upset about.
Probably the strike zone. Would be my guess. I couldn't say what they're actually upset about. So Daniel Sapler, the third baseman, steps in.
Hard to be upset after that last inning, though.
That's a ball from Andrew David, who is out for the 7th inning now. He's got that quality start, 6 innings, 2 runs allowed, but he's looking to keep going. Senior day, one of the last games, probably the last game he's going to pitch at Tufts, because they might have one more game. Also there's also the playoffs. There's also the postseason stuff that they'll be doing. So, but this is his last regular season game as a senior that he can really pitch at Tufts to really enjoy. 2-1 the count goes to Daniel Sapler. 7 innings. It's in the top of the 7th. David delivers. Tapped foul behind the plate. This one bounces directly off the top of the plate.
So the Jumbos actually have several games left in the season. At home, they'll be playing here on Monday, and then they'll be playing the following Monday at home as well. But like you said, Andrew David will probably, he may be pitching. We don't know exactly what will happen. But nevertheless, this is near the end of his college career, so it's an important game for him.
Tapped foul right next to the Colby coach, who doesn't even move, doesn't flinch, doesn't do anything, just stays there. Do you think he knew that it wasn't going to hit him, or do you just...
sometimes you've been on the field for so long and you're just so confident. There's no way.
Even if
no way this ball is going to hit me.
Even if it does hit you, you're just going to stand there and take it. 2-2. This one's slapped over to the hole in second, but Petrie fields it, gets the out. Sapler goes down quietly. As we move on to the catcher, Andrew Della Volpe, who is over 1 on the day so far. Grounded out to second his first time up, and then was hit by a pitch. We were having that conversation. He was crowding the plate a lot, and there was one brushback pitch and then a strike, and then just another kind of pitch just kind of get him to stop crowding the plate, and it just hit him. So worked out well for Della Volpe, as this pitch is down in the dirt for ball 1.
Now, Andrew, just out of curiosity, how much baseball have you played?
I played baseball for most of my young life, as Della Volpe slams this one way up in the air, but not very far out, as McCallum gets under it and fields it cleanly for the second out of the inning.
Well, the reason I ask is because I played baseball for 1 year and 1 year only. It was back in middle school, and
really?
The big reason why I didn't keep going was for some reason I didn't trust the pitcher to not hit me. And at that age, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just so afraid of being hit by the pitch that I had no fun playing the game.
Yeah.
But watching it is a different story.
David pitches this one to Sonberg, who first pitch swinging gets a clean single out to the left fielder. And he'll be the first runner since Ben Crocker back in the 5th inning who reached on a walk. Who reached on a walk. Quite a long time since then. Just a testament to how well David's been working this game. Now, I played baseball. I did Little League, so that was all the way up until – I played all the way up until 8th grade, I think, and then just stopped getting better as the years went on, and decided, no, let's try this thing in boats. I think I'll go row for fun.
So how long have you been doing crew now?
Crew has been part of my life for 6 years now. I've been doing it for 6, so not quite as long as baseball just yet. I've played baseball probably for 10 years or more, but crew's been pretty good for me so far. as David pitches that one in for a ball.
And the crew schedule, as I understand it, is quite a demanding one. For
It's
example, you guys had practice this morning before you even showed up here at the baseball field.
Indeed, we had practice. Thankfully, not too ungodly an hour, about 8 a.m. as David gets the heat in, but this one's on the ground to Moser, who makes a nice play to Petrie. Force out at second will end the inning.
I must say, 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning is a little bit of an ungodly hour considering you had to be there.
Well,
but maybe that's just in my opinion.
After 6 years, you kind of get used to it. One hit, one hit, no runs scored, one man left on base or no men left on base, I guess, as it were, in the top of the 7th inning. And we'll move on to the bottom of the 7th inning for Mike McLaughlin, Harry Brown, and Tom Petrie, the 6, 7, 8 batters for the Jumbos. Still got Bobby Farisi back out for the 2nd inning after that really stellar piece of work in the bottom of the 6th, working through the 3, 4, 5 hitters who have done quite a bit of damage. Dan Kelly especially, who had reached base every single time and then just went down quietly on a ground out to the first baseman. So Bobby out to look to keep trying this out, and he'll try to fill in the role of what used to be called fireman for relief pitchers. They'd come in for a pitcher who's in trouble, not just for one inning, but to actually come in the 6th or 7th inning and actually finish the game. So Bobby did a nice job in the 6th inning, and he'll look to keep that going.
You know, this is a little bit off topic, but I must say, so we were just talking about the food that we were able to enjoy in between the 2 games. So for these players, I mean, like I said, they were here before we were here. How do you think they do it?
They've got to have some. They've got to have. Well, speaking from experience, I know when we have races really close together, we have just sort of really. I don't even know what you call them, but Cliff, like the Cliff Bar Company, makes them, and they're just like these little packets of energy gel. They're really high in calories.
So you're basically an astronaut.
Yeah, basically, it's like astronaut food. It's just a lot of calories, a lot of B vitamins, a lot of just stuff packed into really easily digestible stuff. You eat it and then you drink some water to wash it down. It doesn't stay in your stomach too long, and it doesn't. It tastes better than it sounds. I'm making it sound terrible right now, but it's a really easy way to just not keel over from hunger.
Yeah, I would say that doesn't sound particularly appealing. But Ishan, our director, he's been teaching me a bit about cricket because he's from Singapore, and so he's been learning a bit about baseball. I've been learning about cricket, and I learned recently that they have, I guess, they're cricket matches that are 5 days long, so they get breaks in the middle.
So,
but I mean,
test cricket? He plays test cricket?
I don't actually know the rules, so sometimes
is that what it's called?
When he's on the broadcast, we'll let him talk more
3
about it.
3 days. Oh, he's
3 days.
Us to say
Okay.
3 days.
Maybe I'm dreaming and I'm making it up, but even 3 days. I mean,
that's so much time.
That sounds.
That's I thought I was going to be spending a lot of time here, getting here at 11:30 and not leaving.
Right.
Till 7,
I mean, could you imagine being part of a game that's 3 days long?
I don't think I've ever done any one single thing for 3 whole days at a time. I've done, I'll come back to stuff.
Right. I mean, they do get breaks.
I'll play video games for 12 hours at a time, but I don't think I could do it for 72 hours. That's just nuts.
Pretty intense. Pretty intense.
But it's not even intense. It's just it goes so slowly. Why do you think it takes 3 days? How do you stand that, Ishan? Come on. Anyway, the long break getting a little, silly as we're moving into the later stages of this last game here. Sun's actually starting to go down a little bit, but plenty of sunlight left. We'll get this game over with before it gets really dark. Even if it did actually get dark, we've got some wonderful floodlights out here, so we could play under the lights if we really wanted to. First pitch strike to McLaughlin, the first baseman from Bobby Faries. Still pounding in the zone just the way he does in his own space. Just the way Andrew David does. Maybe he's taking a leaf out of
That's what I was going to say last inning,
David's
actually.
book.
Is in terms of their pace, they look pretty similar.
Pace and just a way that they're, keeping things on their terms as an easy ground out to the third baseman starts off this inning. Faries just really finding a groove. Just, better than any other Colby pitchers have this game. Harry Brown coming up now. One of the speedsters on the team scored a run back in the 4th inning after he reached on a fielder's choice and advanced on an error. Faries comes set, delivers. That one's in the dirt for ball 1-0 to Harry Brown. Don't want to pound the zone every time because then you become predictable, and people will assume you want to swing on the first. Will assume to swing on the first strike or first pitch. This one's lifted up into right center field, playable for the center fielder. And on 2 pitches, Harry Brown is retired.
Yeah, I must say that the rhythm that the Mules are playing with right now looks very much like the rhythm with which the Jumbos have been playing most of the game, which is pretty quick outs, consistent, and fast pitching. And they just look very similar to me right now.
I think the Jumbos are seeing now that Farise is pounding the zone and giving like quality offerings and like pitches that are hittable. As we go here that was a ball, so does not prove my point. But that being said, the Jumbos are seeing balls that are better to hit now, but they're just not quite hitting them the way they need to be for hits. Long run for the right fielder here into what looks like the bullpen, I guess, for the Jumbos. So no play on that one.
Right, well, in a lot of situations, I mean, unless you're hitting a home run or you're getting a single, if you're popping the ball up, the hit isn't making contact with the ball isn't necessarily a bad thing. Of course, you can't guarantee it as a pitcher, but
right. It takes away from what we were talking about with the quality at bats, though. Like these last 2 at bats, each only had 2 pitches. They're not getting to Farise the way that the Jumbos were earlier in the game.
Absolutely.
So 0-2 the count now to Tom Petrie. Out in front of him again. And the pitch is high, not giving him anything good. So the count goes to 1-2. Petrie doesn't want that golden sombrero. Smacks this one foul, just barely foul. That was right on the line.
That was a close one,
I can't remember if it's on the line, it's fair.
On the line is fair, yes.
Okay.
But I have to say, I barely even saw the grass between the ball and the line on that one.
Well, that's why they got the umpire out there. Make sure, because if we were calling the game, good grief, that would be a travesty.
Would have been a tough call.
Travesty would, I think, be generous. Count is 2-2. Okay. A little bit of more scoreboard trouble, but that's all taken care of. Count is actually 2-2. 3-2 now. Count has gone full. Petrie's doing his job of actually seeing everything that Bobby has got to offer. Bobby Farise needs to work to get this out here. Comes set, delivers. This one's popped up. This one's much more playable than that first fly ball, as the right fielder puts it away. And another 1-2-3 inning for Bobby Farise. No hits, no runs, no men left on base for the Jumbos that inning. And we'll move on to the top of the 8th. Really getting down to the end of the time here that the Mules have to get back in this game. Tyler Starks, Tommy Farise, and Soren Hansen are going to be the hitters for this game.
Right, well, this has been a very different game than the first one that we watched today, for those of you who were able to watch it with us. And for those who weren't, the Jumbos took charge early on and really held on to it. So this game has been much faster, first of all, and then also much closer. Much closer,
especially. And it might seem like the Jumbos have just had a stranglehold on it, and that's just a testament to the game that Andrew David's been having right now. He's allowed, let's count, 1, 2, 3 base runners over the last 5 innings now. Through innings 2 and 7, he's allowed only 3 base runners. None have gotten past first base. So the last time they even had a runner in scoring position was when Matt Garcia doubled in the first inning. So if it seems like the Jumbos have had control of this game, it's because David's just been on point right now. Or so
right,
far.
if it seems like it's because that's the way it's been.
Right, but it's not that the Jumbos are in control just from a stranglehold from a team standpoint the way it was last game with a 10-run lead.
Right.
But Andrew David's just been doing a fantastic job of just stifling the Mules' offense and keeping them from getting anywhere.
Right, and we said earlier their defense has been on point as well. I wouldn't say it's an offensive, offense is the reason why the Jumbos are on top, even though they have scored more, but really the defense has been key.
Indeed. Andrew David comes set for Tyler Starks, delivers. That's a ball. Ball to Tyler Starks, who is 0 for 2 on the day right now. He's grounded out to third and struck out looking back in the 5th inning. That one's a strike, this time probably on the outer half of the plate away from the batter, closer to us in this case. David still working with his brisk pace. Doesn't really mind this fatigue that he's probably got going on now that we're already in the 8th inning so far. That one's fouled straight back. Count goes to 1-2 now for Tyler Starks. 1-2 the count. Andrew David comes set, delivers. Foul again. This is a really interesting kind of a check swing that he's got going on.
Yeah.
He like moves his hand up the bat, I guess. I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but he's managed to foul off 2 different pitches with that. So
Andrew, I wish that we had a shot of you trying to replicate the motion here.
Try it later. Off-speed pitch is hacked into right field and misplayed by the right fielder who started charging in, but it bounced. It actually bounced really close to the warning track, and could have been playable, but it fell, and Starks is in with a double.
Right. Now there's a runner in scoring position. I'm not sure if that ball was just misplaced or misread in the air because it looked like it could have been caught to me.
Probably misread, and the reason why is that I'll tell you, all outfielders, at least when I played outfield briefly, is the first thing that you need to do as an outfielder when a ball is hit in the air is step back, because it's always it's easier to step back and then charge forward than as we just saw here, where he started to charge in and then had tried to pack pedal, couldn't get the ball, it fell for a hit. So that's just a sort of read play, which was an unfortunate mistake by the right fielder. Here we go with the here we are with the leadoff hitter, Tommy Faries, the elder, as it is working with a 2-0 count now. David's 1-1 count, excuse me, for Tommy Faries. David might be a little bit rattled by that development out in right field, as that was a playable ball for the right fielder, but couldn't quite make it happen. But he just needs to kind of bring himself back in, just to get back into that groove and not get knocked around mentally. Game's almost over. He's just got to bring himself back in. 1-2 the count already. Faries has struck out twice now. He doesn't want to do that again, as David delivers and strikes out swinging for his 3rd strikeout on the day.
All right, well, with this much time on the mound, it doesn't look like much is going to be getting into David's head.
Yeah, good way to sort of bring himself back, to focus back in. Soren Hansen, steps in. 3 strikeouts now after that home run for Tommy Faries. Such a good start to the day, and just couldn't quite get it going after that. David just picked him apart, placed a golden sombrero on his head.
Yeah, well, this game, the way in which it's unfolded, is interesting now when you think about it, considering the very beginning, right? We started with a Mules home run, and since then, it's really changed.
Yeah, and a subsequent Mules scoring. It felt like the Mules could have stayed in charge for a while until the 4th inning, really, when the Jumbos took the lead. Still a runner in scoring position, though. David checks on him, makes Starks scurry back to the bag. 1 out now for the Mules as Hansen steps in with an 0-1 count. David checks the runner, delivers. That one's high. Look to be outside too. That's good for 1-1 count now for Hansen, who has been ineffective thus far this game, but now would be the time to get something done, to put a little bit of mustard on the ball for the Jumbo's defense to work on. David checks on the runner as Moser managed to get the jump on Starks without Starks realizing, but Starks managed to dive back to the bag in time to stay alive at second. That would be the worst thing right now for Starks to do, is just to get picked off. Such a lucky break, and a good thing for the Mules to get that double, and then just to lose it meaninglessly, because he's not gonna steal. He's not going to steal anything, as Hansen waves through that one.
Right, I agree. He should be very careful over there at second.
You can actually kind of hear the foul tip from here, but Schnepp managed to hold on to that one for the strike. 1-2 count now to Soren Hansen. As David delivers. This one's slapped over into the hole, through for a base hit into right field. Starks is going to hold up at third as the Jumbo's defense.
They got the ball in quick. Yeah, that was a close one.
What
would you have done there?
It
on
was.
third?
I think I would have. I agree with the third base coach and with the runner because it was not a deep ground ball out into right field, and the Jumbo outfield all have very strong arms, very quickly get the ball back in and can catch runners, especially a runner like Starks, who wasn't a threat to steal and probably isn't the most aggressive base runner either. This way, though, the Mules definitely have more to work with now. They've got runners at the corners, still only one out. That was another clean hit by Soren Hansen, who picked a very good time to get a hit off of David. As Garcia, the 3-hole hitter and the center fielder, gets a little piece of that one, which takes us to 0-1 on the count. Garcia, who doubled back in the first inning, has scored the second run for the Mules. David delivers. Garcia waves through that one.
Good swing was just a little early.
Colby coach signaling right now. Could be some dummy hand signals, just trying to confuse the opposition. But he could actually be saying, this is a bunt. This could be a hit and run. This is just like make contact wherever possible. Lots of stuff that he could be communicating right now. See, it's really interesting, this angle that we've got going on, because from a height standpoint, it looked really good. It looked like it was right about like belt high or so, and just like right at the vertical level that it needed to be for a strike. But umpire was very clear, very decisive about the fact that it was a ball. So.
Right. Well, it's tricky.
So it must have been outside then.
Right. Exactly, which we can't see from this angle.
That one was in the dirt, so very easy call for us to see how it wasn't a strike. But just a different viewpoint for us as opposed to the big leagues that have those center field cameras that can tell where the balls go. So 2-2 the count now to Garcia as David comes set, delivers. That one, again, it looked good. It looked like thigh high.
And from the dugout, the Jumbo's dugout, which is right beneath us, heard a lot of groans almost after that call. I don't know if they agreed with it. But then again, their viewpoint is the same as ours.
Yep.
So they can't see anything that we can't see here.
Count is full now to Garcia. And David does have a base to work with. That's probably why he's being a little bit more careful as he delivers. This one's lifted into shallow right field, and Petrie makes the play. Hansen scurries back to first base to avoid the double play. And that's 2 outs.
Right, and so with 2 outs now, the Mules have runners on the corners. And the runner on third is really important here if they're looking to
keep it close, especially.
Right.
They need
a
to
run
get,
here is important.
Need to get important. Dire, I think, would be a better word.
I agree.
Unless I can string something miraculous together in the 9th inning. They just got to keep picking away at it. That will not do it as Courier swings on the first pitch and grounds weakly out to Matt Moser to end the inning on a fielder's choice. And the Mules have scored no runs on 2 hits. They leave 2 men on base. No errors by that Jumbo's defense. Just an unfortunate misplay in right field. And David just did what he needed to do to keep them down.
Right, and he's been keeping this game very locked down. As you can see from the box score, I mean, they have their only 2 runs. They scored at the top of the very first inning. And since then, they've really been unable to do much of anything. And
it was really just, you can boil it down to just 3 mistakes by Andrew David. There was the leadoff home run. That's the double that Garcia hit which was just a really clean double. Just got to, it hit the gap in right center, just rolled all the way to the wall. Nothing to be done about that. And then another clean single by Daniel Saplis. And, but those 3 things, David just sort of shook himself off to that first inning and said, let's go back to work. And he really has.
Right, and I think for the Jumbos, I mean, the last inning was a great example of them keeping their composure, right? It was possible they could have been flustered. David could have lost his concentration with a runner who got a double and then made it all the way to third. But they held it together and came out of the inning unscathed.
Defense could have made some unforced errors the way the Mules have in the past, but they managed to keep it together and not lose their cool, as it were. Just make the plays that needed to be made. Bottom of the 8th inning, though. Down to the last, possibly 6 out, possibly 9 outs, or as it were. If the Jumbos can keep the Mules from scoring in the 9th inning, we won't need to play the bottom half of that inning. But still got the 8th inning, though. Jumbos can do some little more damage here if they really need to. So we've got Schnepf and then the top of the order with McCallum and Oscar Cooch for the 1-2-3 batters this inning. Schnepf, who is 0 for 0 on the day, looking to maybe have some kind of an official impact on this game.
Well, I think his impact has been felt.
It's been felt, especially on the defensive end with throwing out those potential stealers, and he's had quality at bats too. This is the other thing. He walked his last time, and those 2 times that he reached on an error were actually the culminations of some longer at bats.
Right. I mean, in my mind, I don't even think that walks get the credit that they deserve. To get a walk, I mean, unless the pitcher intentionally walks you, it means that you did a really good job judging the pitches and you knew when to swing and when not to swing.
Exactly. Schnepp ways through that one to bring the count to 1-1. Bobby Freeze out for some more work, though. He's brought Schnepp to 1-1. Bounces that breaking ball in the dirt to bring the counts at 2-1. Excuse me. I guess you'd have to call that a curveball. It's not quite like a slider, the way that Major League pitchers have a slider. That one's inside. It looked to me like it was inside. I have to ask the umpire where it actually was. But regardless, he called it a ball, which brings the count to 3-1. Freeze backing off from his former doctrine and pounding the zone. We'll see how he goes here. And walk. It must have been low, I guess.
Right. Well, we'll either have to talk to the umpire after the game and ask him about each of these individual pitches to figure out where they were, or we'll have to set up another camera and we'll film the whole game and then we can take a look at it.
I like this idea. More. Schnepp walks to. Schnepp goes for 0 for 0 on the day, unless they bat around the order here, or he manages to make it up in the 9th inning. 0 for 0 with 2 walks and 2 errors. That's a day.
Not something to be disappointed about.
Not at all, because your on base percentage, that's 1,000.
Right.
You
can't complain about that.
On base for the day. You've reached base every single time you came up. Just no official plate at bats, I guess, which is unfortunate. But Bobby Farees checking on Schnepp. 8th inning now. People are starting to feel the fatigue as it comes in. Bunt is faked. Steal is faked. Nothing happens as the count goes to 2-0.
Right, and you can see both the first and third baseman come charging in on that bunt.
McCallum looking to get a hit now. He's 0 for 3, having reached on an error in the 4th inning. 2-0 now, though. McCallum is in the driver's seat. It's just an interesting stance that Bobby Farees has on the mound. It's a very wide-legged stance. It's bunt is showed. And it's a beautiful bunt. Got the job done. Schnepp advances to second on the play. And the Jumbos have another runner in scoring position.
Right, and I'll tell you, because I'm the camera operator there, that was me who was caught watching the game and not the game through the camera's eyes. But I can tell you exactly what happened. It was a bunt. Out at first, runner made it to second. It was a pretty standard play.
Oscar Cooch in now. as the 3-hole hitter for this game. He is 1 for 3 on the day, having reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd inning. Furries checks Schnepp. Offline throw is wrestled in by the shortstop.
You know, I think there's always more risk involved in that than you think, because as a pitcher, it might be harder than anticipated to turn around completely and throw behind you and have that throw on target.
Yeah, there's a reason that I think picking people off second base is the least likely to occur of the picking off the 3 bases, but it happens. It happens, I'm sure. Count to Cooch is 0-1. Bobby Fariz comes set, checks Schnepp. Gets it with a strike. 0-2 the count now to Oscar Cooch. Calls that right now from the bench, or you got to battle up there, Cooch. So he's got to really work on something, really fight off any any pitches that he doesn't like, even if they happen to be good pitches. Find something that he likes to hit and drive Schnepp in, especially while there's still only 1 out. Fariz checks the runner, delivers. That one's high, really high up there. Try to get him swinging at something elevated. Fariz still working. Not quite as decisive as he was the last couple of innings. And Cooch slaps this one into right field. Right fielder makes the play. And Schnepp advances on the sacrifice. So another productive at-bat for the Jumbos.
Right, and this is what you were talking about earlier. A play like that isn't even that bad.
No.
Right, as long as you're doing something productive, and there they moved along a runner.
Get him on, get him over. Get him
positive outcome.
Walk got him on. 2 sacks have got him over. Now they just need to get him in. Bring that lead up to 4. It's always something that I felt like you need to have a lead of at least 4, because then even if the other side hits a grand slam, then you're still tied.
I like the way you think.
This is a clean ground ball to the shortstop, who fields it nicely and gets to first base for the putout. So Moser goes down quietly, and the Jumbos do not score. They score no runs on no hits, but they do leave 1 man on base, and we'll move on to the 9th inning. This could be Andrew David's heading back out for the last inning of this game, and were he not as effective as he was last inning, he wasn't actually all that effective last inning, but he's done a fantastic job in the middle part of this game to really keep all game so far. And if this is one of his last games here before the playoffs, like pitching at home, getting that complete game with only 2 runs scored from the Mules, would be really something special. Right. A really nice memory for him to be sent off with. So he will be facing Saplis, Della Volpe, and Chris Sonberg.
And for that last play that ended the inning, I was really happy to see the Mules make that. Excuse me, not the
the Moles,
not the Moles. The Mules make the solid, easy throw to first, because I was a little concerned. That play reminded me a lot of the ones we saw earlier in this game in the first half, where we saw error after error being thrown to first, and the throws were just off. And I was happy to see that come out the way they'd like.
That was a project that a chemistry class my older brother and sister had to do. It was a mole project. So there's moles like in chemistry, like a certain quantity, but then you had to make it like animal moles too, and just to make like puns. So
I can tell you a funny story about moles. So in chemistry, right, you have moles, Avogadro's number, and all that good stuff. And we celebrated Mole Day in my high school, which is, I think, 5/22?
Something like that, yeah.
I could be wrong. Chemistry was a long time ago. We celebrated Mole Day, and we were asked for extra credit. We could do any sort of thing we wanted that related to moles. And so most people came up with mole puns and mole jokes, and then they'd put them on posters and hang it up in the chemistry classroom. And my friend and I, we decided to make a song. And so there's like a 3 or 4 minute song that we wrote and we performed, because I was in a band at the time.
Oh, wow.
About moles, so. Maybe I'll play it sometime for you, Andrew.
That'd be nice. Swing and a miss from Sapless. The count goes to 0-2. That was the same project that my older brother and sister did. I like my older brothers the most. He did the running of the moles. So little clay moles, and that had, horns and sombreros and everything. It was quite funny. 0-2. Delivery to Sapless is low. I'll make it 1-2. Ninth inning now, David's attacking, so he's, still take no prisoners. Line of zeros stretching all the way from the second inning up to here. He wants to just hang that last one on up here. This one's tapped to the third baseman, O'Hara. Strong throw. Beats him by a step. Put out of 5-3, third baseman to first baseman for that first out.
I wish this was smell-o-vision. I don't know if you're smelling that.
Oh, I do smell
that
it.
Smell of hamburgers, hot dogs.
That's
I'm
not
sorry
for us,
that you
is
can't
it?
smell it at home. I don't think so.
Darn.
Someone's cooking something delicious around here.
I could use a burger right about now. 2 outs to go for Andrew David for him to complete this effective, complete game. First pitch is high and outside for a ball.
We could see that one from here.
Del Volpe is 0 for 2 on the day, having been hit by that pitch back in the 4th inning. David's delivery. This time is in there for a called strike. In that zone. Get in the zone. Strike zone.
Auto zone?
Strike zone, I think, is what we're looking for. David comes set, delivers. That one's a ball. That one looked to me inside.
Looked like the umpire was about to call that a strike too.
He's doing that suspense thing again, just like keeping us on our toes, just like waiting. You could hear him say that. Ball.
I heard that one, and I saw that one too.
Ball, that's down. Why can't he just do that for all of them? 3-1 the count now to Del Volpe. And I'm sure Andrew David's got a whole bunch of leeway to do as he pleases, but he brings that one back in for a strike, brings the count full.
Yeah, well, it's interesting here with the count because there's so many different people keeping track of it, right? You have the umpire behind home plate, you have the actual scorers who are doing it on the scoreboard, and then you have us who are doing it on the broadcast.
You might even have some fans in the stands who enjoy doing that kind of thing. I mean, I do that from time to time at when I go to Giants games back home. It's just something fun to do.
Right, and it's pretty easy to get off by one. So there have been a few points in this game where I'm sure the umpire always has it right, but there have been some discrepancies.
Yeah, in the scoreboard or on my scorecard. Swing and a miss. David gets Del Volpe down on strikes for the second out of the 9th inning. And here it is. Last batter, Chris Sonberg, who is 0 for 2, having struck out, flown out, and
potentially the last batter.
Potentially, yeah. Knock on some wood, or my own head, as it were. Sonberg, the left fielder, takes that first one for a strike. Tufts bench is ready to go home, ready for David to finish this game off. And that's a strike. 0-2 to Chris Sonberg.
It's impressive how strong and solid David is looking after having pitched this entire game.
This whole game, he's got to be approaching 100 pitches if he's not already blown past that border.
Right.
As David comes set, delivers. That one's a ball, probably outside, judging by Schneff's movement to bring that back in. 1-2, still very much a pitcher's count for David as he works through the last of this Colby lineup. In the dirt, evens the count at 2-2. 2-2. He's given Sonberg something to look at, something to spit at, and now his next delivery is sort of fisted off the hands.
Yeah.
And sent right back towards the fans. And said it once, I'll say it again, we need some netting up here. This is not safe. But then you have to ask how much netting is.
Right, when do you stop?
Yeah, when you
before you know it, the whole thing is covered in a net.
And it's just a dome, a netting dome. 2-2 the count, still to Somberg. The pitch. Swing and a miss. And that's it. David gets those last 2 strikeouts to close out the game. And in that 9th inning, Colby scores no runs on no hits and leave no men on base. Andrew David, 9 innings pitched. He gets that complete game. There are 2, the final score of 5-2. Tufts scores 5 runs on 7 hits and no errors. Colby scored 2 runs on 6 hits and gave up 4 separate errors. And it really just came down to the defenses, I guess. And, at the end of the day, this was not an offensive barn burner like last game.
Absolutely. The first game, Tufts scored 12 runs. Here, nothing like that. But like you said, defense was solid and really came through in all 3 games this weekend for them. And we could see because the Jumbo's team just gathered right in front of us. I mean, I think they feel very, very happy and excited that they were able to come away with the win for all 3 of these games, facing a very tough opponent. And for Colby, I think it's very frustrating, especially after that very first game that they played yesterday, which was close all the way through to the end. It's frustrating to be, spend all weekend here and then have to get on a bus, not being able to pull together at least one win.
Yeah. But the Tufts juggernaut just keeps on rolling. He's still undefeated in the conference. They'll be looking at a very nice playoff seed come tournament time, and they can definitely hold their heads high given the way Andrew David pitched today, the way that the offense put together those 2 games yesterday and today, and a lot to be really happy about. But still, plenty of season left to go. So. From all of us here at JumboCast, thanks for sticking with us for the year.
Yeah, this is our last baseball game that we will
Jake's
be broadcasting.
last ever broadcast.
Last broadcast ever, but that's all right. I'll be around next year, so
He'll be back.
I may pop my head in. I won't be too far away.
You can expect a guest appearance from Jake. You can be sure of that.
But thank you so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the 2 games this weekend, the one yesterday, and all that we've covered this baseball season. And best of luck to all the teams here today, and especially the Jumbos going forward.
Definitely stick around and keep up with the Jumbos baseball. All the spring sports, really. There's, all kinds of stuff there. We've got some really, men's lacrosse just won today, and they ought to be going back to the tournament. Women's field hockey should be doing their thing.
They are. Softball.
Track and field is still working hard. So from all of us here at JumboCast, thanks for joining us. For our executive producer, Ishan, for Jake, for myself, and all the other guys who couldn't make it here today. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good night.